Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans made some moves yesterday. The Titans released offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, the former third-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Petit-Frere started 28 games over the last 3 seasons. The move saves the Titans $3.65 million in cap space. In return, the Titans signed 3 offensive linemen to their 90-man roster in Sam Mustipher, Brennan James, and Oli Udoh. The Titans now just have 3 of 23 players drafted between 2020 and 2022 on their roster, per Nick Suss of the Tennessean. In other NFL news, New Orleans Saints right tackle Ryan Ramczyk took to social media last night to announce his retirement from the NFL. Ramczyk, one of 2 Saints first-round picks in the 2017 draft, has been battling knee problems and hasn't played a game since 2023. Former Nashville Predators defenseman and captain Shea Weber was announced yesterday as the 20th and final member of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2025. Weber was drafted in the second round to the Preds in 2003 and played 11 seasons for the team and served as the captain from 2010 to 2016. Weber was a 4-time NHL All-Star and a 2-time Norris Trophy finalist. And in Tennessee Vols basketball news, 5-star 6'9" forward Nate Ament from Arkansas has received a crystal ball from 247 Sports' Travis Branham as he predicts the number 4 ranked player nationally to sign with the Vols. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Friday morning on RKW as the final show of the week begins. Welcome to the gateway, the starting line of your weekend. A very busy show with 3 guests, lots to get to over the next 4 hours. Brent Hubbs of AllQuest brings us the latest in Tennessee's search for a new quarterback at 7:20 this morning. National ESPN draft analyst Matt Miller breaks down the Titans NFL draft at 8:20 this morning. Ron Slay will stop by in hour 4 at 9:20 as always. We'll have Vols quarterback nuggets perhaps. We'll have a lot of fun, as always, on a Friday morning with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins is our producer on Friday, April the 18th. Good morning. How are we
Good
doing?
morning, good folks. We're good,
I thought
man.
that was Ramon.
Nah, not that
Sounded
time,
like
man.
Yeah.
Just Jayhawk
Jayhawk.
somewhat adopted it, and I'm okay with that, Jayhawk. You
I'm
feel me?
practicing.
You're practicing. You got to have the
Okay.
Right.
yeah. There
Exactly.
we go.
I was telling him yesterday, it's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
What is?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
Okay.
want to know where I get it from? It sounds like Ice Cube, but I started getting it from Antonio Brown when he was open. He used to yell at Ben, yee. He would yell yee, and I was just like, I don't know. It's kind of morphed into a yay right now. It kind of sounds like Ice Cube when he raps at
subtle,
times. Like,
yeah.
more yellow, but we used to just be in practice, and now all you'd hear is just yee. It was like, AB wants the ball again. AB wants the ball again. It was hilarious.
That's funny.
But I've also seen that on people's trucks, too, on the back of their
Yeah.
truck. I think it's like a country boy thing, too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where it derived from, but what I know is I enjoy it, and it's a quick response from me from time to time. So
You brought it here to our show.
I almost had called a yee call yesterday, y'all.
Really?
In baseball
Yes. No, not even baseball. Absolutely not. In football, we had practice yesterday, our introduction to, like, the field for spring ball. Spring ball is right around the corner. We start up next Monday, all right? Right after the resurrection, okay?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. With that being said, I told the boys I'm in the trenches with them this year. Last year, I didn't do the spring. I did the summer and fall with them. So this year, I'm with them, all right? And I'm conditioning with them.
Okay.
Oh,
I like it.
Hey,
that's awesome.
I thought I liked it too. We ran some half gases yesterday, and your boy was over there just like, I'm almost 40.
You remembered why you retired, is what I'm hearing.
man.
I'm a man. But my pride will, Kayla, my pride wouldn't let me tap out, man.
No.
What's funny is our head coach, Coach Mash, was running with us too. And I'm looking at him run with the small skill guys, and he's smoking. I'm just like,
What was the worst thing you did?
worst thing I
Worst
did.
drill or worst like thing in general?
Start, okay?
So,
Start.
well, okay, the whole thing.
Because my right knee wasn't ready for it all the way. I had
All
to
of it
like,
was a time for last.
yes, okay, but I did not. Coach Mash, on the other hand, though, I told the bigs that I was running with, I said, hey, fellas, we're going to have a short conditioning day today. I was like, because he can't keep up with them, and I ain't going to lie. He was leading at first. Next thing you know, he was falling middle of the pack. I said, he blew it up probably after 10 or 12. I said, I told y'all. I was like, I told y'all, we weren't going to run long today when coaches get involved.
That's pretty good.
That was kind of fun. It took me back to middle school, high school days when our coaches, man, made us run full gases, just down, and back.
That's exhausting.
Yes, Kayla.
Just saying it is exhausting.
And that Tennessee Heat, we were also a team, too, that went away for camp, which is one of the first teams in our area to do that, man. It was cool. Our
Where'd
coaches.
you go?
We went to Hardin County.
Okay.
Hardin County, yeah. We went over there, which is like Lexington area of Tennessee and West Tennessee. There was a paper mill that county has. And every morning we get up at 7 o'clock to hit the field, you'd smell, I guess, the crank up
It's
of a
nasty.
paper mill. It is disgusting.
We had one in our little neighborhood growing up.
Yeah, it is bad. I knew we were close to the end. When our nose, I guess, senses got used to the smell. By like Friday, we were like good to go. It was like, okay, well, we can just continue.
That paper mill
But having to practice in the morning in pants, dry our pants out on the sidewalk, and then have ants all over it.
Ew.
Y'all don't know hard times.
Ew.
Y'all don't know hard times.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know running for sport and being conditioned.
You know that.
I have
one.
no clue.
Hey,
I don't know much. It's one of the few things I know.
I told y'all
I
I
yesterday.
feel your pain.
I was outside and this dude that was mid-run nursing his knee. He
Yeah,
might
been
have
there.
he might have been younger than me. And I was just like, buddy is hurting right now. He was doing the old rub down, and you said you've been there before.
But yeah, the first time I got hurt at Tennessee, I was like 3 miles from campus. Everybody else kept going, which I don't blame them. There's nothing they can do for me. They're not the athletic trainer. Somebody has their phones on them.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we're just running. We're on a run at practice. So I just hobbled about 3 miles back to campus from Sutherland Avenue where the intramural fields are. You know where Dead End Barbecue is in Knoxville?
yes.
Yeah, that's where I got hurt.
No way.
I hobbled from Dead End Barbecue all the way to campus. It was
Dead end
great.
barbecue.
Bro.
It was my own dead end,
I
personally.
was just say.
Yeah,
That's
decisions have
ironic.
to be
Don't
made at
recommend
that
it.
point.
Don't recommend it. You know who else hit a dead end yesterday?
Who?
Nicholas Petit-Frere. Cut by the Tennessee
go.
Titans as they make moves yesterday and bring in a couple of linemen. Sam Mustipher, Brandon James, Oli Udo to the 90-man roster. Mustipher has played a little bit. So has Udo, to be honest with you. Mustipher played 12 games and 1 start at center for the Chargers in 2024. He has made 41 starts over the last 3 seasons with the Bears and has also played for the Ravens. James also played for the Chargers last year and has seen time at both center and guard. Played 9 games last year and 46 over 4 seasons with 3 AFC West teams. Udo played 14 games for the Saints last year. Started 18 games at guard and tackle for the Vikings earlier in his career. This front office and coaching staff is not waiting around for young guys to figure it out. They are bringing in dudes who have played, who have put on a helmet, and are not going to ruin the rest of the offense.
Absolutely. This seems to me like the NFL version of the transfer portal. Like, legitimately, go get me some guys that got experience behind them. And that's the best move of the day, I thought, yesterday. And so you would probably say, well, which one? Is it the NPF one or is it 3 offensive line?
Yes.
That's the answer.
Yes, all of them.
I have so many just takes on NPF, man, more than anything.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, first of all, right? It's disappointing. But what this also shows, though, on the positive side for the Titans, as Will just said, you got guys that won't be afraid to jump into the deep end of the pool, right? You got guys also, if you look at the way this is structured, that are fringe starters, have started type of guys. So the competition as far as having depth is going to be there, you would hope. It's going to be fascinating, again, to see how this shakes out for your center position, especially with Cushenberry having to be in a position that he is. But that's why
see
you
how
go
quick
out
he
and get a
can come
6'5", 300-pound center, too.
Yeah, you got to be able to have depth there just in case there is a setback by chance with Lloyd Cushenberry. I hope we don't see that, but you just never know. It is interesting, though, you guys were just mentioning, like, this front office is not wasting any time kind of purging former players. How big their names are or how not big their names are or what they've not done in terms of MPF, and then Harold Landry on the opposite side almost.
Yeah.
But that's what surprises me, that Traylon Burks is still just chilling.
Traylon Burks,
it's like
he injured though, so they can't cut him.
that is true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
They would have
So
to
you
waive him with
wonder,
an injury. Yeah,
right. Like, when will he technically be healthy, and then will there be anything done at that point, or did they give him one more chance?
It does feel like the guys just floating around at wide receiver are not as good as the guys just floating around at offensive line.
Mm-hmm. And the offensive line side of things, too, is if you got guys that have experience, that are warm bodies, that don't have injuries attached to them, then you sign those dudes. I'm actually shocked the Titans are able to lock in this many guys with this much experience. I'll be completely honest. I don't know how they found them, where they found them. In the free agency market, I know for sure, but that's a little shocking to me that they were able to get this amount of guys on one day like that.
It's like a trio, yeah.
Yeah, it is. But it's so necessary. It shows you the emphasis of
the
what their
depth.
plans are too. Borgonzi mentioned it being a big team, right? And so did Chad. That's what they want to present themselves as, and having that much depth is huge. It might also show which way they're going to go in the draft too.
Just going to say that.
Yeah.
That might just be an indication there.
Yeah, more defensive throughout the draft. We'll see.
615-737-1045 is our number. We continue a recurring NFL draft segment when we come back. I am confident in how difficult that I have made our next conversation. Blind NFL draft resumes for day 2 quarterbacks over the last 5 years. 3 of them will be NFL veterans who are currently in the league. 2 of them are NFL draft prospects. You guys pick who is who next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. You've probably been looking for cars and see the words buy here, pay here, and then you look elsewhere. And most of those dealers come with certain reputations. But I'm here to tell you why there is one place you can go, one place you can trust. That's Nolensville Road Auto Mart. And they're different for a few simple reasons. They have been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They're Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars under 12 grand. So if you're new to town and you need a place to trust, they've got you. Maybe you need that first car for the 16-year-old in your family. They can do that as well. 615-242-1279 is the number to remember for Nolensville Road Auto Mart. The Google reviews, excellent as well, which is saying something for a car dealership. With one location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane, they'll get you in and out in an hour or less. The best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville, and they work with your own financing if you got it. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty, that's why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Call them at 615-242-1279. RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone and streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV. Get you some scooters this morning at White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. You can download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. And you can join us in enjoying some hot and fresh scooters this morning. It's a good way to start your weekend.
It is, man.
Highly recommend.
Our teammate Zach Lyons replied back to our tweet. It was a tweet of repost of Jonah, what's his name? From Superbad or whatever. Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Jonah Hill. And he said, that's not a reflection of me running, just so you know. It was bad.
That's awesome.
Now it does
Does he
look
think
like you, Zach.
Jonah Hill.
Oh, is he? People think he looks like Jonah Hill?
Jonah Hill running.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, because that whole
Never
thing
put that
with
together.
how he runs.
Yeah, I can't unsee it now. You
Okay.
are Jonah Hill running. I
Oh,
just
that's
wanted to
pretty
get that
funny.
out real quick from Zach for participating.
That's great.
So we've been doing this segment over the last couple of weeks where we will go to NFL.com for Lance Zierlein NFL draft profiles. And I give you 2 draft prospects, and I give you 3 current NFL players. And we have the show, Guess Who Is Who. I am more confident in tripping you guys up this morning on this one than I have been at any other time that we've done this.
I actually feel so much more confident
The
in this
only
one.
problem with this one is there's
You sure about
not
that?
Yes.
in the last 5 years. There's not a ton of second round guys.
I didn't do just second round. I did day 2.
That's what I'm saying. Well, day 2. Oh, so 2
Rounds
and
2 and 3.
Dirty, you
That's the
dirty
point.
dog, you.
Oh, okay.
Because
You
there's not that
dirty.
many. I was going to do the last 10 years of second round, and I decided instead to do day 2 of the last 5 years.
I feel confident still. Now, I can't wait to crush this little game today. Look at me. with
Part
my
of it is
Apple
there's so
pen.
many that could be in there this year, but there's only 2.
Crushing.
So
Right.
someone's getting left out.
Won't be me on the answer sheet.
You said
Okay.
this last time you went 0 for 5.
Man, why you got to bring up
I ain't
old
saying
stuff?
nothing yet.
Why you got to bring up old
Facts are
stuff?
important.
Huh?
Facts are important. All right, let's begin, shall we? Day
Yes.
1.
Okay.
Player 1. These are day 2 quarterbacks drafted since 2020 over the last 5 years. 3 of them are NFL veterans. 2 of them are NFL draft prospects. We begin with player 1 at 6'2", 223 pounds, a 6'17" prospect grade from Lance Zierlein of NFL.com. That means he is a good backup with the potential to develop into a starter. 3-year starter who saw improvement in play and production season after season. Stocky build, average physical attributes, but good makeup and intangibles. Fairly accurate and rarely overcomplicates things for himself. He won't strike anyone as a running quarterback, but he can find tough yards on the ground. He can make full field reads, but looks more comfortable grazing from the trough of the simple. He will need to work with better anticipation and decisiveness to win in tight windows as a pro. Teams might see physical and play similarities between him and Brock Purdy, but such a pathway for this player requires a balanced ball control passing attack that allows him to manage the game instead of driving it. That is player number 1.
Hey,
Was anyone
now.
looking at the Google Doc during that?
No, I was not. Why? What's up? What you
What do
need?
you mean?
Good.
Okay.
Because
What does that mean?
the player's name was in it, and I had to
Oh, are
correct
you
it as I
serious?
was reading it. Yes.
No,
that
I
was my
wasn't.
test.
No,
No
I
one
did
reads
not.
the
I'm
show notes
looking at
before the
mine.
show.
No,
Interesting.
I went through.
Interesting. I'm
I
just
didn't
kidding.
stop on it. Is what I did do.
That's good.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, screw this. Let's go.
As I was deleting it, I was saying
dropped the
he
name.
was great.
Oh, I need to bind this
You
in chat,
dropped
too.
the name right there. It's the height, though.
Yeah, what's tripping you up there? What are you confident on player 1 though?
I am.
Okay.
I might end up switching mine, but
Okay.
we'll see.
All right. Well, that's
I got
player
it.
1.
Because
Right here.
again, we
At
can only
6'2",
have 2 this
223,
year.
and a 6'17" grade. All right, player 2 is 6'3", 217, a 623 grade that says will eventually be average starter. He was frequently a half-field reader, which means he could lean on spacing, speed, and or route combinations to make life easier. He's more accurate outside the numbers than between the hashes, and his deep ball placement was much more uneven than expected. However, he plays with excellent poise and footwork as a pocket passer. He will make quarterback coaches and play callers happy with his adherence to keeping plays on schedule. He's still showing signs of improvement and growth at the position, and his ability to hurt teams with his legs creates opportunities to help his offense outside of what he does in the pocket. That is player number 2.
I think I have this one.
Kayla's confident. Ramon, how do you feel about player 2?
I'm solid on this one.
Solid, okay.
Yeah, quite confidence on this one.
What makes you confident?
Let's see here.
The last part of that description.
The last part?
Well, yeah.
Can hurt teams with his legs?
Yes,
Okay.
can hurt teams. Doesn't mean he does often. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I said that he's more accurate outside the numbers than in between the hashes. Deep ball placement a little more uneven than expected.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to player 3 then, shall we? Halfway point. Player number 3 is 6'1", 222 pounds with a 6'14" grade. Good backup with the potential to develop into starter. Like Tim Tebow, he is a winning dual-threat quarterback known for his strength, toughness, and character. He is a more accurate passer and better runner than Tebow, but is inconsistent as a decision-maker and tends to break the pocket when throws are there to be made. His deep ball touch and intermediate accuracy improved this year, so teams may see him as a developmental talent who will keep getting better in the right scheme. He'll struggle to beat NFL defenses from the pocket, but his ability to grind out yards on the ground and make off-schedule plays should make him a solid backup with upward mobility. Tremendous leadership qualities, extremely tough and durable, shows poised to make plays late in games, has issues sustaining rhythm as a passer with so many off-schedule throws. Inconsistent patience, allowing routes to develop, slow recognition of early throw opportunities, leaves slants and crossers behind targets, more likely to void pocket than climb, scan, and throw from it. That is player number 3.
That's an interesting one.
6'1", 222 pounds.
The dual threat stuff.
Very much a runner. That's right. Good backup with potential to develop into starter.
Quick question.
Answer.
Maybe. Quick question, because now you're getting a little tricky on this, all right? So, that's what I should ask in the beginning. The current prospects, do we project them as day 2 guys or just not first rounders? Not Shador, not Cam.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, that's a good question.
Correct.
All right. Okay, because I got one in mind for that last one right there.
Yeah, we know it's not Cam Ward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I shouldn't make these
I
noises
told
on
you
there.
this would be challenging.
I shouldn't make. What's that, Kayla?
I'm just at the whole Tim Tebow comparison. Like, you don't get that much. I'm like, so.
Confirmed, Kayla does not like player 3.
No, that's not true. That's not true. As a football player.
Yeah. Dude.
I'm looking down my list.
Kayla, this one sucks. I'm going to
know.
be real with you.
I gotta go through this whole
I think this whole thing sucks.
Yeah, you didn't have to do this, Will.
Good.
There was other things on your plate that you could have knocked out.
Oh,
All
I still
right?
played 9 holes yesterday. We're chilling. I got a lot of broadcast prep done. Learned about the Seattle Sounders.
I kind of want to put a slash right here.
Okay.
I know. I gotta go back to my first one too.
Well, let's go to player 4,
Yeah.
shall we?
Yeah.
Player 4 is 6'5", 236, a 6'19" grade, which means good backup with potential to develop into starter. Clearly has the arm strength, touch, and placement to wear out one-on-one coverage if he has good protection and above-average players around him. But he's not going to elevate an offense with his talent alone. He's very good at finding his throwing platform and can deliver deep throws with outstanding touch. He needs to improve his eye work and to create more opportunities by moving safeties around. He is clearly a skilled passer, but it's hard to find evidence of him being able to play chess at this point against what NFL defenses are likely to show him. Prototypical size to stand tall and fire from the pocket. Made substantial production gains across the board in his final season. Pocket setup is slower and labored. Footwork gets sloppy and bouncy inside the pocket. Below average functional mobility to extend the play.
Okay.
That is player number 4. At 6'5", 236.
There's
a
not
hoss.
many 6'5"ers, but like,
Just wait till you listen to player 5.
Hold up.
great.
Hold up, dude. Wait a second, Will.
Hold up.
Wait a second, Will Lee.
Okay.
What's your problem?
let's see.
What's the issue with player 4?
The issue with player 4 is they played against each other, or they almost played against each other. They're rivals, I feel like, with the 2 I want to pick.
Oh, okay.
And this is where it gets super problematic for me.
This is where it gets tricky.
Yeah, it is where it gets tricky. Because it could be a prospect.
Could be. Could be a current NFL
I
player.
hate you.
The guy I thought isn't tall enough, so that ain't it.
I got you right here. I got your answer right here.
Okay. We'll find out. We'll find out if you have our answer ready
I
here.
do.
As we find out about player number 5, our 5th and final player of the 3 that are current NFL quarterbacks and 2 that are NFL draft prospects. Player 5 is also 6'5", 219 pounds, a 6'16" grade, good backup with the potential to develop into starter from NFL.com's Lance Zierlein. Talented pocket passer with a live arm who is capable of making pro throws, both intermediate and deep, but battles inconsistency. He plays with good field vision, using his eyes to hold defenders and set up throwing windows. He is confident and accurate when protected, but will flinch when pressure mounts, leading to spotty decision-making and big sacks. His size and passing talent will be enticing, but mobility concerns are impediments he will need to overcome. Displays good command and full field passing talent when protected. Adequate timing, getting through his progressions, pushes deep ball with effortless release and flick of the wrist, sluggish operation time, working quick game throws, lacks poise and mobility to overcome turbulent pockets, not enough extend and win when flushed from the pocket. And that is the 5th and final
It
player
sounds like the same one as the other one.
the process. And that
God.
is the point.
Same height, same weight, same
description.
Can't extend
Pluses and
plays,
minuses.
big arm. Yeah, that's right. Inconsistent.
I mean, the grade's the only minor difference, really, and I don't know.
616 and 619 is pretty much identical.
Yeah,
I know.
it is.
All right, who do we feel
This
most
is not
confident
gonna
that
be
you
great.
know?
4.
2.
I'm
Okay.
thinking 5.
Why number 4,
Why?
Ramon?
Why number 4? Because of the height, and I feel like I felt like this was after picking C 3 times. I needed a current prospect. Is where I felt on this. There's
Okay.
2 things. It was height
Interesting.
and the idea
Okay.
that I needed a current prospect. I felt like
Kayla, why are you confident on 2?
For the same reasons, like that description, I specifically remember for some of the things we've done here, breaking down that
Okay.
prospect.
And player 5, Justin? Why do you?
Kind
why are
of
you
the same
confident?
reason for Ramon is I needed a prospect, and I just really liked the description.
Interesting.
And maybe somebody's description
Oh, so
that
you guys,
Daniel Jeremiah and the likes have talked about.
hold up. How many prospects I got on here? Oh,
I've
I
got
gotta erase
I've
this guy.
got
Oh,
two,
I got
finally.
I'm gonna circle the one I'm gonna pick, but I'll tell you the one that sounds like at 3.
All right, so let's start with which one are you least confident in?
Least
4.
confident in
4 and 5.
1
Okay.
and 2 for me.
All right.
1 and 2.
I like
I
it.
was very boistrous about them. I set
I
my
was
pen
boisterous.
down. I don't know if you saw me trying to get your attention as the teacher when you know you got
Yeah.
the answer in classroom. I went.
Yeah,
Show off.
I did that all the time.
President of the Beta Club, Ramon
Yeah.
Foster.
I was though. I was the
I know. I
secretary of the
competed
Beta
like
Club.
crazy with those grades.
I did not. I can't relate with either of you on that.
You weren't a 93
Um,
average.
I was. I just didn't compete about it.
I looked at that list. I was like, I'm not number 1. I'm number 2.
No, I just
What the
needed to
hell?
be on the Beta Club.
I just wanted
on.
to survive. I just wanted to stay
Yeah.
awake. All right, player 1. 6'2", 223 pounds, a 6'17" grade. Kayla, who is player 1?
I went back, so I needed a prospect, 2 of them. So this more fit so when I went back and looked at the description. So I'm going to say Jackson Dart on this one.
What do you mean look back at the description?
Because at first I didn't know what it was. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I needed
Read
to.
it in, in the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Player 1 for me.
Yep.
It's because of the body type and him being strong, whatever the description of it was.
Mm-hmm.
Will Levis.
That's interesting.
Justin.
The key for me is a 3-year starter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to be honest, all the height and weights that you read are very trippy
Yeah, they're about
because
the same.
quarterbacks are very rangy, unlike the running backs we did the other day. I, too, went Jackson Dart because of the 3-year starter.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I think every single one of these players is 3-year starters except for one of them.
Well, never mind.
To be fair.
But I'll stick with it.
But you are right. It is Jackson Dart, who is player number 1. Interesting,
Wow.
some of the things. So stocky build, average physical traits, fairly accurate, rarely overcomplicates things. Teams might see physical and play similarities between him and Brock Purdy, which I thought was interesting. But such a pathway for him likely requires a balanced ball control passing attack that allows him to manage the game instead of driving it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think the Jackson Dart analysis is interesting. We had one person in the chat guess that was Malik Willis,
Okay.
who was also in.
I don't
Will
think Malik
Levis is also
is Malik
6'4".
that tall.
Oh, let's find out.
Malik might be 6'2", 6'3".
I think so.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Malik's not short.
Malik
We're
coming
not
out of the
supposed to be
draft.
doing this. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we'll let you know. We'll let you know after.
Wait.
Malik is shorter than that.
Yeah, I thought
Okay,
so.
thank you.
6 foot and a half.
Wait, he's not that big.
219 though, but he's just not that
Yeah,
tall.
he is bigger, stockier.
Let's go to player number 2. 6'3", 217. Will eventually be an average starter. A 623 grade. This player actually graded the highest of any of these 5 prospects. Ramon Foster, who is it?
You ruined it by saying it was Malik Willis. I had Malik down right here.
Kayla?
Hendon Hooker?
Justin?
Kayla,
What?
every time we do this, I feel like
We have the same ones?
you can predict Tennessee, or Will pick a Tennessee guy. I too went with Hendon Hooker.
Hendon Hooker is correct. Frequently a half-field reader was the giveaway on this one in the Josh Heupel offense. I wanted to compare. So the reason why I put him and Dart back to back, I wanted to compare 2 guys from similar offenses.
Sure.
In Jackson Dart and Hendon Hooker. And Lance Zierlein of NFL.com claims that Jackson Dart is more of a full field reader than Hendon Hooker was.
Right. Hendon's could be more of a natural runner too. I think in the description with Dart, it was like he can get those tough yards, but he's not even looked at as a runner.
This game sucks sufficiently.
Hey, we're not even at halftime yet.
Nah.
There's three prospects left.
I don't think mine's getting better.
Plenty of ball left. 6'1", 222, the Tim Tebow comp for a player who is a runner, but breaks out of the pocket more quickly than he should. Who is player 3, Ramon?
Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel, okay.
Although in real life, he's not that tall.
Okay. Well, then it's probably not Dylan Gabriel.
No, because I thought he would have lied about his height. This is the official height?
So,
Yeah. This is NFL.com.
yeah, the combine, like the.
Kayla, who's player 3?
I think it's Jalen Hurts. There's not many.
Justin?
Jalen Hurts.
It is Jalen Hurts.
Tim Tebow-like, Ramon.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought about Dylan Gabriel in the sense. Like the way he moved.
Played a lot of
was
college
too
ball.
short.
Yeah, he's just
Exactly.
too short.
Man, boy, I tell you what, I ain't ever playing these reindeer games no more.
Reindeer game.
This is terrible. I hate y'all.
You
So
said you're
Dylan
confident with the
Gabriel
last
I
two.
was confident.
Is 5'11".
Dylan Gabriel's
so
5.
short.
He's close.
Mm-hmm.
In the pamphlet for his NFL team, he's gonna be 6 foot wide.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
that's true.
No, maybe even 6'1", to be honest
Facts.
with you.
He is slight.
All right, player 4,
Hey.
6'5", 236, good backup with the potential to develop into starter. Kayla, who is it?
I don't know. It's a flip of the coin. I needed another prospect, so I'm going Tyler Shuck on this.
Okay. Ramon?
I went Curtis Roy.
Curtis Rourke, okay.
Okay.
Justin, player 4.
I don't know too many people who's 6'5". I went Davis Mills, but I don't know if he's
Oh.
that tall.
You're all wrong. You want a second guess?
I do. Nope, I don't.
I don't even know.
What changed in your mind
There's
so
not
I
that-
quickly?
feel like you've already taken my money away. And I'm just like, never mind.
There's just not.
No,
There
I
is a
don't.
6'5" quarterback.
There is, but I also feel like I got him picked for my next one too. I didn't think of another 6'5" guy.
That's yeah.
Player 4 is Kyle Trask.
Oh, great.
quarterback.
That would have been my
Great.
second guess.
Florida.
Now I put him on the other one.
That's my 5th one.
Kyle Trask is player 4.
Bless your heart, Ramon.
Look, you know what? Meet me in the parking lot after this. Okay?
Player 5 is Tyler Shuck.
And I put Kyle Trask.
I did this to give the example that we've talked ourselves into Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck's just Kyle Trask, but older with more injury red flags.
That's a good point.
That's very true.
I mean, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
He has a little more starting experience. He's got a lot more injury red flags.
Yeah.
They're the same size. They've got a lot of the same traits and attributes, according to NFL.com's Lance Zierlein, when they came out of the draft. Don't talk yourself into drafting Kyle Trask at the top of the second round.
That's
You
a
know
great
his-
point.
His biggest negative in this write-up right here to me is where you lose football games, but will flinch when pressure mounts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
that is disgusting.
Both of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
both of them. Absolutely.
that is disgusting right there.
Yep.
I mean, Kyle Trask is like a backup still.
I mean, he
but
is.
Other than that,
Jeez, like if we read these blind right here, this is a totally different
And
conversation.
the
That
best prospect out of the 5 of them
interesting.
in terms of grade coming out of college was Hendon Hooker.
It was
yeah.
Hendon.
623 grade.
What sucks for Hendon? Hendon doesn't have the ability to play.
Right.
That's where his,
Right.
legend as far as being an NFL player kind of hurts a little bit more.
And he hasn't had the opportunity in a team as good as he's on
Yeah.
to have a Joe Milton type performance at the end of the season. Like, he hasn't had a Week 18 game that's just, all right, Hendon, go for it. Like, last year they were playing for the NFC North in Week 18.
Yeah, I know.
Am I the only one who wants to really like see him get a shot?
I
He
think
got
we
some
all
sort
want him
of
to get a
text.
shot.
My wife just texted
What'd
me.
she say?
You need to go back to sleep. Okay? She said, I don't think you understand this game with a last emotion. Please go back to sleep.
Ryan on Twitter
God,
tweets at
that
us,
is
says, quote,
hilarious.
Ramon, I'm going to dust y'all at this. Also, Ramon, 5 minutes later, I'm never playing these reindeer games again.
Oh goodness.
We're going to do offensive guards next week, and Ramon's going to ace it.
God.
5 for 5.
Straight up.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
we probably will do that.
I
Actually.
You should put
promise
his
you,
in there,
man.
his
Oh, my
No,
God.
don't say that now. Now that I can't.
Sorry.
Dang it.
Extra credit I was
This
looking
is
for.
not okay, man. This is not. Y'all got my own people
Leave it.
talking about me.
Leave it to me.
I was so hyped. I was ready for this one. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is one of them situations. I was like, yeah, buddy. I'm ready to go on this one. Wrong. I was 0 for 5 again. I need
all right.
extra credit, Will.
I made that one
Extra
extra difficult.
yeah.
That was hard.
I also was not going to put Jalen Milroe in there to see if y'all could tell the difference between Jalen Hurts and Jalen Milroe.
Yeah,
Without
yeah.
them both being in there back to back.
Hurts
did.
was what's your number again?
3.
3. Hurts was hurt.
But would Milroe get a Tim Tebow comp?
I think he could, yeah.
He called him Tebow and
Runs a lot of QB power. He's not as big, but
No.
as a runner, I mean, he's dynamic, yeah.
Hurts is 6'1".
Yeah, he's a little bit smaller.
I actually thought he was like 6'2", 6'3". I don't know why. Either way,
6'1" at the NFL draft. Maybe according to PhiladelphiaEagles.com, he's taller.
I wonder.
Milroe is 6'2". I mean, their measurables are similar. Milroe's grade coming out as 6'1", a good backup with potential to develop into starter. That is identical to the grade for Jalen Hurts, who is also a 6'1" grade.
Also good leaders and the
Yeah,
whole leader part
for
of
sure.
that came with
I
it.
wonder if what's his name did him good. Lincoln Riley did Jalen Hurts good by making him pass the football. System is what I mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fair.
Didn't
Coming
hurt
up,
him.
This game
We
sucks.
wrap up hour number 1. Some potential very good news for Tennessee basketball around the corner. We'll explain why next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. You've heard me talk about how Lead Company can make your life better for homeowners, facility managers, but did you know they do the same for their team as well? If you're looking for a rewarding career, Lead Company is hiring. They are looking for skilled tradespeople in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, sheet metal, and more. With 80-plus years in the business, Lead Company invests in its award-winning team with training, benefits, and real career growth. You can apply today at leadcompany.com/careers. That's leadcompany.com/careers. And you've probably seen that Lead Company fleet of vehicles driving around Middle Tennessee. They got over 1,000 vehicles in their fleet, the vans and the trucks, you name it, they are around the area. And Lead Company, they're involved in our communities, whether it's Little League sports, high school sports, local events. They're proud partners of the Titans, Preds, and the Chattanooga Lookout side of Chattanooga as well. You want to be a part of Lead Company's team? Check them out online, leadcompany.com/careers. That's Lead Company, all you need. RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. And as one NIL saga doesn't go Tennessee's way in sports, there is another one that might just go perfectly for the Vols. RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee wrapping up hour number 1. 247 sports writer Travis Barnum yesterday gives a crystal ball prediction for Tennessee basketball and Rick Barnes to land the number 4 ranked player in the class of 2025 in 247's rankings. 6'9" forward Nate Ament. There is buzz growing for the Tennessee basketball Volunteers. Travis writing at 247sports.com. Based on everything I have gathered, I now give the Vols the edge. After days of gaining momentum and traction within this recruitment, they have a big need for Ament on the roster as they look to fill the Dalton Connect Chaz Lanier void. And also have a familiar face incoming to the program in Troy Henderson from his AAU program, Team Loaded VA. As for when an announcement will be made, guys, there is speculation it could come as early as this weekend.
This weekend would be
significant.
Huge. Yeah.
And Brent Hubbs will join us in a half hour to add more insight into this as well.
Yeah, no, that is legit right there for the Vols, man. Shout out to Coach Barnes for just cooking the way he is. The only reason I think Coach Barnes in these situations, if it all lines up, can win these situations is for this reason. Guys do have to start playing some level of defense going to the next level. I think that's where Dalton Connect that's one of the reasons Dalton Connect made his decision. Chaz Lanier also was challenged in that way. If you're a guy that's very offensive, Coach Barnes, from my understanding from talking to Savage, never has a problem with you jacking the shot up. Hey, take as many as you want, but play defense. And at the end of the day, those things right there matter at the end of the day when we're talking about where are your flaws at. Mm-hmm. If you are James Harden out there, there's only one of him. Like, there's only so many James Hardens on the team. And that's why I think a guy like him has to up his game a little bit more if that's what he's looking for. Rick Barnes does that for him.
And you got to love, the size at 6'9" too. We talked a little bit about that last year, just having a little bit more height, and this guy coming in with that definitely carries that, but also the skill factor.
Yep, no doubt about it. 6'9", being able to move the way he is. This would be a great tip of the cap if he can close this out with Nate Ament, man. Jeez.
Feels like a lot of the projection on him being the best version of himself is not being forced to play the 4, not being forced inside. So he's maybe a thinner 6'9", longer wing who is just kind of an oversized wing more so than he is a hybrid forward/wing. Like at 6'9", you could put a lot of those guys down low. Like 6'9" is big enough to play the 4.
Absolutely.
At the college level. But his skill set is closer to a Kevin Durant type. Doesn't mean he's that good, but low-key, he might honestly just be that good.
Shoot.
I mean, he's the number 4 player in the country. We're talking about the kind of prospect that Tennessee has not had since Kennedy Chandler, according to recruiting services. We're talking about a Tobias Harris kind of player. A bigger prospect who can shoot, who can battle down low, who can drive. Like, we're talking about a program-changing player for Tennessee basketball in 2025 and 2026, and the kind of guy that would keep Rick Barnes around to coach for the next season, no doubt about it.
That's what I was going to say. Go ahead.
What do you think, though, real quick, gives the Vols the advantage over, like, a Duke or an Arkansas?
Duke over an Arkansas?
Well, just and anything else you could add in terms of the program, the trajectory of the program,
I don't necessarily think there is an advantage over them. It comes down to preference, to be quite honest with you, in my opinion, because we're talking about Duke. Duke is what Duke is. They just, Elite 8 also this past year. Final Four, my bad.
Lost to Houston.
Yeah.
They're Duke. They're Final Four, lost to Houston. Their coach, they have the cash for it, too. With this war chest that we've heard that they have to pull from, they can pay the price. What I see, though, is that you got a coach in Rick Barnes that's known for defense. And it's also the SEC in a sense. It's also, look, you can carve out your own pathway. Duke got plenty of U's, and that can also play into Duke favor also. Arkansas is, well, how much is Cal going to get you ready with what those other 2 schools I think Tennessee and Duke would have? I do think the slight edge may go to Duke and Tennessee over Arkansas in this moment right here.
Apparently, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Louisville are moving up. So those are kind of the top 3. But again, Brent Hubbs has told us for weeks now that It is hard to get information out of this recruitment. So
Good.
anyone's guess is as good as ours.
And he knows one of what was the familiarity part you had read with
Troy Henderson, the point guard
Troy
that
Henderson.
just signed officially.
Okay.
I think the advantage Tennessee has over Duke is that at Duke you are just a guy, and at Tennessee you are the guy. And that's not to say that Duke, he's on the same level as the other two guys that are in his class, but the Boozer twins at Duke are going to be him.
That's also true, too.
And at Tennessee, if you want to come here and be for one season the Dalton connector Chaz Lanier, Rick Barnes has proven that he can work with you for 1 year, and
that's a good point.
That 1 year is going to go well for you, whether you are a high schooler or whether you are a transfer portal player. And it does sound like, from reading the War Room this morning at VolQuest.com, written by Brent Hubs and the VolQuest writers, that the cultural fit of who the Tennessee program is on and off the floor is something the Ament family really resonates with.
And the other side of it, too, to your point, Cameron and Caden Boozer are both committed there.
Right.
Legacy's
Duke.
there also. Cameron is also a 6'9" forward that also likes to play, I feel like, Nate Ament also. I'm looking at his tape right now. Like, the way Ament plays is he can back you down in the post, but you want him on a wing to work. Like, I don't think Tennessee's had that many dudes at this size that can go inside out and effectively score around the rim. I'd
say,
that.
Yeah, he's similar to the Julian Phillips prospect that the Vols had a couple of years ago that Tennessee had, just better.
Yeah.
He's the number 4 player in the country. I think Julian was a fringe 5-star, maybe around the number 15 player in the country. But Nate Ament is a KD level player. Kevin Durant, his prospect grade out of 100 is a 99 from 247 Sports. This would be the number 1 recruit in Tennessee basketball's history in the recruiting service era, in the On3 and 247 and Rivals era.
And he battled well, too, against A.J. DeMasta, who's the number 1 player in the class, too.
That's right.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee yesterday and said both a lot of things and nothing at the same time. We'll talk about it next.
It's Ramon and Kayla here for Window Nation, man. April's a great time to spruce up around your house, especially during Window Nation Buy 4, Get 4 free sale going on right now. You could pay nothing until 2027. And if you buy a house full of windows, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but entry doors can be expensive. Well, they'll give you a free entry door too, Kayla.
And this is the perfect time, Moan, to actually get out, check your windows, and if they're not in good shape, why not update them right now as we are getting into the summer months? A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, a 50-point inspection of every window before it even leaves the factory. So when it gets to you, it's going to be installed the right way, and it's going to last. 96% customer satisfaction rating and over 20,000 5-star reviews. You got to go with our friends at Window Nation. Right now, you've got that sale going on, and hurry because it's going to end on April 30th. So don't overpay for expensive windows that might not be as good. Schedule a fast free estimate today at 866-90Nation or go online to windownation.com.
It's 7 a.m. from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans made some moves yesterday. They released offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, the former third-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Petit-Frere started 28 games over the last 3 seasons for the Titans, and the move saves them $3.65 million in cap space. In return, the Titans signed 3 offensive linemen to their 90-man roster in Sam Mustipher, Brendan James, and Oli Udoh. The Titans now just have 3 of 23 players drafted in 2020 and 2022 remaining on the roster, per Nick Suss of the Tennessean. And another NFL news, New Orleans Saints right tackle Ryan Ramczyk took to social media last night announcing his retirement from the NFL. He was one of 2 Saints first-round picks in the 2017 draft and has been battling knee problems and hasn't played a game since 2023. And in hockey news last night, where former Nashville Predators defenseman and captain Shea Weber was announced yesterday as the 20th and final member of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2025. Weber was drafted in the second round to the Preds in 2003, playing 11 seasons and serving as the captain from 2010 to 2016. He was a 4-time NHL All-Star and a 2-time Norris Trophy finalist. And in Tennessee Vols basketball news, 5-star, 6'9" forward Nate Ament from Arkansas has received a crystal ball from 247 Sports, Travis Brenham, as he predicts the number 4 ranked player nationally to sign with the Vols. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Okay.
7 a.m., hour number 2, getting started on this Friday. RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. You need to download that Scooters Coffee mobile app today. Order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. I would have this tradition in school. I'd go into high school. For all my teachers out there who know I was maybe late every now and then on a Friday, it's because I would treat myself to breakfast on the way to class on Fridays. Well, it doesn't have to be class. If you're going to work, if you're just going to the living room, just going to the home office, take a detour, go to Scooters Coffee, get you a warm cinnamon roll, a fresh cup of coffee, maybe a protein smoothie. You want to go healthy and unhealthy. At the same time, they got you. It's all right. Friday calories don't count. Everybody knows that.
That's what I've heard, too.
No,
That's
I
what
don't count mine.
That's what
on
I've
Fridays.
heard. You know, it's a Tequila Friday is the way it's looking right now tonight, y'all. Just so you know, light a little fire. Shout out to my guy
Margarita?
Chase, man. No, straight. I'm trying to count my
straight.
calories out
Okay,
here, man.
okay.
Shout out to my guy Chase.
They're skinny
that
bugs.
stopped at the White House Scooters, man. He should have grabbed the cinnamon roll from my guy Tybo. Shame on you, man.
He didn't get the cinnamon roll.
Didn't, because Tybo probably sleep at the crib right now. They ain't got school today, in case y'all didn't know.
Hey, let
Kids are
Chase
out.
cook.
Man, all right, let him cook then.
So he just got a coffee.
Just he said he got a coffee this morning
That's
at the
okay.
White House.
Start,
Very good.
Start small.
Highly recommend
Build
it.
up.
Introduce yourselves a
Yeah.
little bit.
Highly recommend
Yes, indeed. Highly recommend.
Coming up in 15 minutes, Brent Hubs of All Quested on 3. We'll see what the latest is on Tennessee's search for a quarterback. We'll see if Tennessee is closer today than they were Wednesday when the portal opened. It sounds like from reading Brent's work at VolQuest.com, this is going to be one of those situations where right when you hear that a quarterback is entering the portal, he's going to go to Tennessee pretty quickly after. But you're not going to hear about who is maybe going to go until they are ready to go. So we'll talk to Brent about that coming up here in 15 minutes. But, guys, Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and said a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Kind of. Says, I am open to anything and attached to nothing. In a lot of ways, aren't we all? Retirement could still be a possibility, but right now my focus has been and will continue to be on my personal life. And that's what I've told the coaches. There's still conversations that are being had. It's all been very honest lines of communication. Ramon, as someone with allegiance to the Pittsburgh Steelers, what were your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers' long 45-minute sit-down with Pat McAfee yesterday?
The whole he's up in the air, he's not committed to anything and still considering retirement. Like, hey, Rod, come on, man, let's get to it. Like, this is the only thing I don't like about his saga where he's at right now. And I didn't know if he was like this in Green Bay during his prime years or not. never really followed him like that. I just thought it was a badass that could play football like anybody. I mean, like nobody else. You know what I'm saying? He's got the franchise in a limbo more than anything. That sucks because it takes away from your authority, which is what he said happened, and what the Jets took back after this. If they sign him, I ain't got no choice but to support it. I'm going to wait and see what it looks like. But I'd much rather at this point just know what he's going to do. Like, legitimately, are you committed to the cause?
Mm-hmm. Look, it's just the shenanigans he plays in the offseason. And I know he can do it because obviously, look, that teams are still waiting for him because he is still a viable option. And, you know, the Steelers could definitely go and get him. Now, they could probably draft a guy too. Whether or not that player will be ready this year, we'll find out if that happens to be the case.
Rumors are, from what I saw, Shador had a bad visit.
So I've even seen Jalen Milroe attached there, which is wild.
To Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
I hope not. It's a first rounder.
Exactly. But you need a quarterback, right? And I just think that Aaron Rodgers, he just continues to do what Aaron Rodgers does. If you want to retire, bro, just retire. There's nothing now and 2 months from now that's going to tell you need to retire. Like, you're going to know that. And I just think the games he plays, it's just so wild that even teams sit here and put up with it. And that's why, again, I go back to this whole conversation, though, is we're still holding on to some of these older veteran quarterbacks because that's just the safer play right now than going with a young guy or going with an unproven guy. Yeah. It's like everyone wants that stability of, hey, we know they've done it before.
Yeah. No,
and this is what you'll do. You'll wait.
You have to. I ain't going to say you have to, but if you're a team looking to get over that hump, like Pittsburgh has a lot of good parts around it, and you hope that you can find the last part in the quarterback in a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I know Will has more information on this trip to the Jets. I laughed in our group chat about, hey, yes, finally somebody crapped on Aaron Rodgers. You know, maybe he'll get a little bit motivated. But after hearing him say what he said on Pat McAfee yesterday, like, I'm not committed, I'm thinking about retirement, everything's on the table. He said everything and nothing.
It lines up with exactly what we talked about 6 weeks ago when I said Aaron Rodgers is probably either going to play for the Steelers or retire because there are no other suitors that are worth a crap.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the Vikings, he's easily benchable with J.J. McCarthy. The Giants stink. Well, there's no reason for Aaron Rodgers at 41 to go play for the Giants. They are far from making a run. The only team interested in him that could make a run is Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So he's going to do things on his time, as always, because it's Aaron. But also, he needs his own kind of leverage to get what he wants, to get the power within that building that he will require. And the only thing that he has in terms of leverage is time. So that he's using his time to try to make Pittsburgh sweat and maybe make some concessions behind the scenes to give him things that he wants.
Yeah.
This wasn't a big thing when I was playing this post-June 1st designation, but I'm not sure how much that's hindering his process of being able to sign. But I do know that's when his release is supposed to be post-June 1st. Correct. I'm not sure if he can, commit to him, be in the building, doing OTAs and stuff like that. That would be ideal because most off-season programs start up Monday or Tuesday.
That's true.
So that's where, to me, the commitment to actually learning the playbook, buying into the locker room. It's the same thing we spoke about with like Nico, right? You've been there to have the locker room buy into any portal quarterback right now at this point. Like, you've been there.
Right. And
y'all have worked,
Yeah. And I know Michael brought up, I did actually listen to the interview live on Pat McAfee yesterday, Michael Spain. Here's the deal with the whole
Infinite Bank chat open?
No, I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying to people listening on YouTube.
To address the situation with he's going through something with a family member or a friend. He didn't say exactly what it was, but he's trying to be there for someone. I understand that as well, Michael, but that doesn't explain then the couple years past where he's done the same thing going into these situations. Like, he is still Aaron Rodgers. Like, he is still complicated in how he does things. So I'm not trying to be, not emotional for that situation, but it is still Aaron Rodgers.
The guy whose stock rises the most in all of this is Aaron Glenn, to be honest with you. So the Jets part of this, Aaron Rodgers says, I felt like there wasn't an ample amount of respect in that meeting, but I guess I shouldn't have been surprised based on some of the things I saw over the 2 years. Mm-hmm. Rodgers said he was fired less than 1 minute into the meeting, adding that Glenn went, quote, a little rogue and expressed concern that his authority would be undermined by Rodgers. Rodgers, minutes after saying the money is not a factor, says, I figured that when I flew across the country on my own dime, that there was going to be a conversation. And the confusing thing to me and the strange thing was when I went out there, I meet with the coach, we start talking, he runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. Then he comes back with a GM. So we sit down in the office. I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country, and 20 seconds in, he goes, so do you want to play football? And then says, we're going in a different direction at quarterback.
That's
Way
hilarious.
to go, Aaron Glenn, man.
No.
that's how you
That's
date a
wild.
locker room right there.
Hey, dog, hear
They were
me
going in a
out.
different
That's
direction.
nobody bigger than a program talk right there, is
That's
what he
right.
just did. There's
Yeah.
only room for one Aaron in the New York, New Jersey era, man.
what?
Like, huge on him.
So he says, I didn't want any part of that. I did not beg for my job, he says, answering he never pleaded for his job. It was already a debacle in some cases. Listen, that whole situation was crazy. Aaron, buddy, you're the reason
You
it was crazy.
created it, though. You brought in all those guys. You demanded certain things. Like, you created that atmosphere.
This is why I'm so glad this guy's not going to be a Tennessee Titan.
I think this-
so glad.
As much as I might have to be like, yeah, he won us the game this weekend, like as far as that goes with the Steelers, I also point out the fact that this is still a buddy-buddy league with these coaches. I'm not sure how close Aaron Glenn and Robert Saleh are, but Aaron Rodgers' disrespect towards Robert Saleh last year and the year before, well, not the year before, but his dismissing of him is where I felt like Aaron Glenn got Robert Saleh's lick back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like Woody Johnson, their owner and everything, was probably behind the door. Hey, Aaron, go walk out real quick. Like, coaching them up on how they wanted to treat Aaron Rodgers on his way out. Like, you're right. Like, and I'll say this too. Fly across the country, and I'm sure private for him wasn't cheap. That's probably like a $25,000 trip for him. Okay? I don't care how rich you are. Nobody wants to waste that type of money on a flight. More than from LA to New York might be close to $50,000.
Right.
So
What
I know
do
he's
you
a
think that
multi-million
was?
dollar.
Just an FU moment?
It
like,
was.
Like,
Yeah, it was. There was poop on your front porch.
Yeah.
That's what that was. Like, Aaron, appreciate you, but no. You let somebody in. That's exactly what that was. And like I said, I think it shows more the fraternity of coaches at a point. The same way you seeing these college coaches almost dismiss like what NIL is. Fran Brown, I read his entire interview yesterday about his wide receiver leaving.
yeah. Oh, yeah. He won't back down on that.
That the context around that interview makes it a little bit different
It
than maybe
does.
the way the quote was taken out of
I read the
context
whole
on social
interview.
media. Yeah, but
He's a fiery guy, though.
Fran Brown essentially saying, if you're a wide receiver that wants $2 million, that's the homie from Ohio State. That's Jeremiah Smith.
Exactly.
He wasn't talking about his guy that just entered the portal. He was just kind of saying in general. But yeah, it's the way coaches are having to regain control of both the college and pro level.
I thought he set a market for wide receivers, though, is what Fran Brown did.
Yeah,
yeah, he did. And I read an article on that, too.
I think he set the market. If you're not the
Yeah.
homeboy in Ohio,
Yeah.
don't come to us asking
Kind
for
of
more
smart,
than him.
in a way.
Coming up, VolQuest's Brent Hubs, the latest as Tennessee searches for a quarterback next.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? Have you ever looked in your crawl space also? I get it. Most of us don't even want to know what's in there, but moisture in your crawl space can create unhealthy issues that can make their way into the air you breathe in your home every single day. You guys know we have like wet springs around here too, and you just never know what's crawling inside or seeping inside. This is where United Structural Systems can help. USS has been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994, so you know they aren't going anywhere. Help control moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with the USS guarantee. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space, helps deter mold and mildew, and protects your crawl space from pests and wood rot. You guys know it rains here, then it gets hot here, then it steams up, and then it gets hot. You just never really know what's going on. Turn your crawl space into a healthy space and reach out to the company I trust that's known for foundation repair and waterproofing. That is United Structural System. You can visit them at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com or call them at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Continuing your Friday morning, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling, joined as we are at this time every Friday by VolQuest's Brent Hubs. Brent, what a difference a week makes since the last time we talked to you. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. What a difference a return phone call made last Friday after I got off the air with you guys. That's when you got first word that Nico was not at practice, and obviously everybody knows what has happened since then. And the question now becomes, what can Tennessee land in the portal? And that's a big question mark right now, and that's what we're all trying to figure out. It's very frustrating for Vol fans because there's not a lot of news. There's not a lot of names being thrown around right there because guys are not in the portal. But Tennessee is certainly working. Their collective is certainly working and talking with agents, third-party, type deals. And since Sunday, the coaching staff has been evaluating any and all quarterbacks around the country just to try to be, as proactive as they can be if somebody were to call them.
So, Brent, let's start there with Tennessee's next move at quarterback. How confident do you feel like Tennessee is that they can get an established starter, or is this more maybe challenging than they thought originally as they try to get somebody to leave their program just about 4 or 5 months before fall camp at the beginning of next season?
I don't think it's more challenging than what Tennessee thought. I think it's more challenging than what some media people, indicated and some fans believed was going to be the case. There was a narrative out there on Monday, I guess, that, everybody was going to be lining up to date Tennessee, right? They were going to have the pick of the ball, so to speak. And I do think Tennessee is attractive, but it's also a situation if a quarterback is leaving, it's a risky move. Even though Tennessee's offense is quarterback friendly and they get to throw the ball around and they get to do a lot of things. If you're established somewhere, going into a new place that is an unknown, where maybe you have one more year to finish where you're at and you've worked to establish that and the offense there in and out and those types of things, it's not the easiest thing to move. Now, is there a certain player out there maybe you can just, give them so much more money than what they're making where they're at that you make it, basically impossible for them to turn down? I mean, maybe that's the case, but you also, if you're Josh Heupel, have to find the right person. I mean, you have to find somebody who can run your offense, somebody who's going to handle your locker room and come in the right way. So, yeah, I don't think Tennessee ever thought it was easy to get an established starter. And I think everybody around that follows it is realizing it's not as easy as some people were making it out to be the first of the week.
VolQuest's Brent Hubs with us. So, Brent, the one guy we know who is in the portal as of yesterday afternoon, Notre Dame's Steve Angeli. Do you believe Tennessee will have any interest there in the former Notre Dame signal caller?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tennessee has interest in a lot of people right now, and are evaluating a lot of guys, and that's a guy that they're certainly evaluating and looking at, and where that goes, today, where that goes, in the next hour, we'll see. I mentioned this on VolQuest last night when some people were disappointed that we haven't thrown out a bunch of names. Here's a scenario that was presented to me over a 24-hour span. Scenario one, Tennessee's in pretty good shape. They got a real shot with this guy. 3 hours later, no, he's going to stay where he's at. He's not leaving. The next morning, hey, it's not dead yet. There's still a chance. That's what you're dealing with here, because agents are trying to leverage everything. And kids and their families are trying to decide if they want to uproot and figure out if they can establish themselves in 100 days to be the next quarterback and a successful quarterback at a new place like Tennessee. So obviously the young man from Notre Dame is leaving. He is moving, and Tennessee is absolutely evaluating him. And I would almost guarantee that his agent has called Tennessee, because he's looking for a new home, right? Like, it's not like he might go in, he might not go in. He has definitely gone in. Now, he's not the most established guy. He has played and has experience, but it's not like he's a 2-year starter there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I would definitely put him on the list right now. I put a lot of people on the list. The question is, are any of those guys going to move? He's one we definitely know is moving.
Brent Hubs, Vol question on 3 with us this morning. Hubs, when you look at this situation, the portal's wide open right now. There's been a couple of Vols hop in themselves too. What is the ripple effect of this, do you think, or have heard about guys flirting potentially with the portal, or just maybe coach I'll leave so pay me a little bit more? Has that been happening over this last week?
I mean, I don't think there's a bunch of offensive skill guys looking to leave. It's, if you're talking about a ripple effect with Nico's departure. Obviously, there's 2 defensive backs who've gone in the portal, and John Slaughter, who was going to be primarily a special teams guy. The Christian Charles move surprises me. I think that Tennessee was, going to reward him financially if he stayed. The collective was going to, and he's a guy who's battled injury. He played through a pretty significant shoulder injury last year and was going to have a chance to be the starter at Tennessee this year, but obviously feels like there's something greener for him out there in the pasture. So he's looking for another school, which is a bit of a surprise. And I don't know that they're done. I could see some other guys certainly going in the portal. I mean, right now you got a lot of agents playing a lot of games. You got kids asking for more, and Tennessee is, it's not monopoly money. You got to decide what a guy's worth is, what his value is, and do you want to let that guy walk, or do you want to spend more money to keep that guy? And they're not broke or anything like that. I'm not suggesting that, but you have to be you're somewhat good stewards of the money, even though the money continues to grow seemingly every year, every 6 months, every portal cycle. There seems to be more money found, but you do have to be mindful that it's not monopoly money and unlimited.
Man, Hubs, as of late, since the portals opened up this week, man, there's been a few coaches speaking out and saying a few things. Dion called out Virginia for some stuff, trying to get one of their guys, which all of this is normal. They just decided to broadcast it. But a future opponent, man, I thought did something else. They were very smart, and I hope can help change the landscape of this NIL era. But Fran Brown really kind of leaned in a little bit yesterday, speaking about their wide receiver that's hopping into the portal. And he made a point that it seems to me he set a ceiling. He said, y'all are not old boy down in Ohio. Mm-hmm. Talking about Jeremiah Smith. He's getting $2 million. Mm-hmm. If you're not at his level or Marvin Harrison Jr. at the point, Hubs, does that kind of somewhat settle what the market should be at wide receiver? Now, quarterback with Nico and, his camp or whoever else is $4 million, the ceiling. Like, is that what we're going to get to where the coaches have to set these markets?
Well, that's what you hope. You hope the market self-corrects and settles down. I wouldn't say corrects, but settles down a little bit and doesn't keep going at the pace that it's going at. But here's what you have to remember. All it takes is one.
Yeah.
All it takes is one school paying, whatever, because they're desperate for somebody at that position. They overpay for it. And then all of a sudden somebody else says, well, if he's getting that, then I can get that, and that's the way that this thing works. And, the Nico situation be a reality check for quarterbacks out there? Sure. But do they also look and say, well, Carson Beck got this, and so I can get that. I mean, when are cooler heads, maybe smarter heads, more thorough decisions made instead of emotional decisions made about going into the portal? We'll find out. Now, the young man at Syracuse will land somewhere. He's not going to get $2 million, but he will land somewhere because he's not going back to Syracuse. But, yeah, I mean, I think coaches are going to say that. And, listen, Josh Heupel has drawn great praise for how he handled last week, and Tennessee's drawn great praise for taking and drawing a line in the sand. Now, is everybody going to be happy in the fall if they're not where they need to be at quarterback and they throw up a record that, is not what the rest of the roster should perform at, or the amount of money they're paying for that roster, and all of a sudden you're throwing up a record that doesn't have you in playoff contention? Is everybody going to be happy? Is everybody going to go, hey, I mean, Urban Meyer had that part right? Is everybody going to go, hey, that's great. It's okay if we go 7-5 because we took a line in the sand. Or is everybody going to forget the line in the sand and go, hey, poor roster management, poor decisions, paying a lot of money for a roster, paying a head coach a lot of money, you got to perform better than that. Don't have a lot of patience in college football with fan bases. And that patience is probably thinner than it's ever been because of the portal stuff and the money that you're going through right now, that those people have high expectations. And that's just something that is a byproduct of all this. I know that's a long-winded answer to You want it to be everybody takes a stand, but it just takes one, and all of a sudden, if you're not winning, nobody's happy.
Right.
Brent Hubbs, our good friend at VolQuest, joining us as he does every time here on Fridays. So going back to Nico Iamaleava and his camp, and there's just so much stuff that has been said from whether it be it's not the money that we were looking at to it's more of the offense. On that note, Brent, he's been technically the least productive quarterback under Josh Heupel. We went through his history. Will put out a list a couple days ago. Is there anything, though, about this offense, Brent, that you would be like, okay, maybe there's some validation in what that camp was saying about that?
No, I mean, because of the history. The history says it's productive. Now, that's not to suggest that Nico's not talented. I don't know necessarily why it didn't click. Their camp is always going to say it was a lack of playmakers around him, a lack of offensive linemen, and lack of protection. Defenders are defending Josh Heupel differently the last couple of years than what they did the first couple of years he was at Tennessee. But Tennessee has evolved and adjusted some things. It just didn't work. And I don't know exactly why he didn't perform at the level we anticipated him performing at last year. I do think there's probably more than just him. I think it's unfair to say he was the sole reason. And I've seen the clips out there that people have put out of, worth $4 million, and it's every overthrow that he made last year, right? That they forget he made some plays too. He just didn't make nearly enough plays against the competition that you were wanting him to make. At the same time, too, he was a part of a team that went to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the sole reason they went to the playoffs, but he was a part of the team that went to the playoffs. And he was terrific in the second half against Alabama. You don't beat Alabama without him in the second half. Now, he wasn't good in the first half. He had a hard time putting a full game together and all those things. I just think his camp is obviously trying to save a little face here. On the flip side, there's obviously some people at Tennessee that are putting out, various things like not being at a TV production meeting and all the stuff that, was completely irrelevant and Tennessee was just going to work right through that. The bottom line for me in regards to Nico is this goes back to what I believe is one of the most baffling decisions I've ever covered in college athletics in my 30-year career, and that's his decision not to come to practice for a week ago today. That's the one that I will go down in my history as going, I'll never understand that one. There's no justification from his camp to miss that practice and put themselves in the corner and box themselves in. Finish spring, and who knows where this thing lands. He's not going to get $4 million at Tennessee, but who knows where we land, and he lands if he handles the last 2 days of spring practice the right way, in my opinion, by coming to practice. His decision to not come on Friday, I'll never understand.
Yeah, mind-blowing, at least. Brent Hubbs joining us like he does every Friday at 7:20. We're talking a little Vols. On a positive note, from spring ball, from what we saw, it looks like this is a freshman class with a lot of upside. What do you like about them in particular as a class?
Well, I think they're talented. I mean, I do. I think they've got the length that you're looking for in the secondary. I like their size at wide receiver with the newcomers. David Sanders is obviously a talent. And he's going to be a really good player sooner rather than later. I like the young tight ends. The reality for all those guys is they don't get to be young very long. Their days of being young are pretty much over. You have got to attack the off season if you're them the right way, not just physically but mentally, to put yourself in a position to be ready to go come August, because you don't have time to be a freshman. This is going to be a young Tennessee football team in a lot of places. And some of that youth has got to, Isaiah Campbell at defensive tackles got to grow fast. He's got to get it all figured out pretty quickly here. So I think the one thing is you like the talent. That talent has to create some experience for themselves somehow this summer in preparation mentally, because they're going to play early and often out of the gate. A lot of those guys are.
Brent Hubs of All Quested on 3, our guest. Brent, I know Tennessee fans have attached themselves to a couple of names who have already been reportedly going back to their current schools with bigger deals. Avery Johnson at Kansas State, Josh Hoover at TCU, and On 3 had that report. How realistic is it for Tennessee to live in that Rocco Becht, Sawyer Robertson world? Or is that kind of pie in the sky of what fans think is reasonable and maybe is unreasonable based on what's happening behind the scenes?
Well, I think you've got to swing. And again, I go back to what somebody told me in a 24-hour span. It's
right.
It's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Well, it's not completely dead. And so if if an agent's continuing to have conversation with the collective, you continue to have those conversations. With people, if the coaching staff has evaluated their film and likes their talent, is it going to be hard to land some of those, a guy like that? Again, I think it's going to be more challenging than people think that it is. I mean, you've got some guys who I think their agent expressed early interest, absolutely. And then I think that maybe those guys have sort of backed off what that interest is. Now, do you raise the stakes financially and get their attention and get the oven heated back up, if you will? I mean, that could be a possibility here. That's what, you're working through is that's the pie in the sky, right? That's the moonshot. That's
right.
What you're shooting for. Can you land that? I mean, you can keep trying, and you should, but do you get to a point where you go, okay, we just have to turn our attention completely elsewhere because those guys aren't realistic? And here's the thing. I mean, at some point, there'll be some agent leak out there that, Tennessee lowballed them or they wanted to come. And, I mean, there'll be a John Gruden moment, right, where it's like, hey, I wanted to come, but Tennessee didn't want me.
Right.
That's going to come out, because agents are playing games. I mean, that's how this works. They're trying to get the most money for their player. And then if he returns and they celebrate that return, then it gets them more NIL deals, right? Somebody who's a big fan of the program somebody gives them an NIL deal for a little more cash, and they're celebrated more at their plays. So agents are using it to their PR advantage. Particularly if their client does not move. You can spin that in a way that makes you very celebrated in the town you stay in, particularly if it's a small town like Ames, Iowa, or something like that.
Brent, on the way out, the Nate Ament sweepstakes continue. Is it fair to say Tennessee has put themselves in a good position for him? And is there a timeline of him maybe making an announcement one way or another in the next couple of days?
I think that they have put themselves in the best position they can put themselves in. And Rick Barnes has been so hands-on in this one that if they land Nate Ament, it's going to be about relationship that this coaching staff, in particular Rick Barnes, has with Nate and what Nate is looking for financially. I think he could probably get more money somewhere else. I mean, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I think Duke can write whatever check they want to write if they want somebody. So I think that Tennessee is positioned as well as they can right now. You would probably like for him to make a decision sooner rather than later. He has had a hard time coming to a decision. There's the notion that it may be in the next week or two he comes to a decision. I don't know. Maybe he gets it done faster than that. I know some people in his camp are ready for him to make a call, make a decision. But some of those people were ready for him to do that at the first of this month and the end of March, and he wasn't ready. So it's on his timeline. We'll see how quickly he can get to a decision, and we'll see what the back and forth is between Tennessee and Duke, particularly their collectives here and down the stretch run of this. I don't know that there's a whole lot of changes there on Tennessee's end. I think this is kind of to the point where, Nate, where do you want to play? Do you want to play for Rick Barnes or do you want to play at Duke? And you're going to have to make that decision because I don't know that Duke's going to come back with a new huge big offer or Tennessee's coming back with a big offer. I think they're kind of where they are, and it's probably in Nate's corner to make a decision at some point here.
VolQuest, Brent Hubs, a lot of business to get to here this morning. Brent, I wish we had time to talk about this new country playlist from Owen Scott for his drives up to Knoxville for the upcoming weekends of the fall for some reason. Amazing. I can't remember what the reason is. But we had a lot of business to get to this morning. We appreciate you as always.
Absolutely. You guys have a great weekend, okay?
Yes, sir. You as well. Brent Hubs with us here this morning, taking time out of his very busy schedule to join us. All of his conversations with us brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life.
Yeah.
Always good stuff from him.
It was. Hubs was straight business today.
Yeah.
I understood the assignment today.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
right?
finna, I
He
wasn't
was
finna
like,
play
no
around
joking
with
around or anything, right?
Hubs ready to go.
Let's react to some of that. I'm curious, who is at the top of your wish list for Tennessee football? I've got a new name at the very top of mine. This got a lot of buzz right now in the Vol Twitter world. Plus, a quarterback is trash talking his new offensive coordinator in college football. A funny quote that surfaced yesterday that we'll get to next. Join 104.5 The Zone for our 2025 Golf Classic presented by Ferguson. Monday, June the 9th, it's coming up. Nashville Golf and Athletic Club, located in the heart of Cool Springs, a historic golf course featuring breathtaking panoramic views of the beautiful Middle Tennessee countryside. You can purchase your team today. Choose between 2 flights, 8 a.m. or 1 p.m. Spend the day teeing off with us, myself included, of course. For more information or to purchase a team, visit 1045thezone.com. Good stuff with Brent Hubs this morning, talking about Tennessee's search for a quarterback. Do you guys have someone who is at the top of your wish list?
As
Who
far as
is
the transfer,
a realistic option? I'll say any transfer quarterback not named Avery Johnson or Josh Hoover. Kansas State and TCU quarterbacks, considering we know those two guys, according to reports, are off the board.
I'll be completely honest with you. I don't have a wish list.
Okay.
I don't know how real it is to actually get a guy who's going to be able to come in and take over like that. My only guy, and I know I'm probably more wrong and the fans don't want to hear this, is Jake Merklinger.
Really?
It's that simple.
You've been on that. I'll tell you that much.
It is, because if we can be excited about what we see as far as like, oh, this could be, then why can't we be excited for what it actually is in those moments? Like, there was a lot of talk out of Merklinger before Nico had even decided to transfer. And I don't think this was a prerequisite to, hey, we need to warm ourselves up for Jake Merklinger.
Mm-hmm.
I look at this and say, like, I legitimately I was talking about it, and then I saw a podcast talking about it too. Ryan Clark's pivot had some Clemson players on. And now I myself am going back and saying I think Dabo was right. I think buying into high school recruiting, building your culture, letting your guys grow up in your system pays dividends, because you don't have to deal with these types of situations right here. When you pour into your investments, the kids, pay them, do all that you need to do, why should there be a big issue on starting a guy like Jake Merklinger? Especially when you got George behind him and Faison Brandon too at some point. Let Merk get his time, bail out, next guy up. Is the way I view it.
J-Rob on Twitter writes in and says, serious question, why even recruit the other quarterbacks on the roster if you don't feel like they could do the job? Why does the answer have to be the portal? What happened to developing? Oh, I do think one of the reasons why the answer is portal is you're going to have to get somebody.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
You have to have 3 scholarship quarterbacks when your starter might just be a redshirt freshman.
Right.
Sure.
And maybe that's why mine could fit well with what you're saying, because you have to do it. Like, you have to get another guy on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're looking to identify, if anything, you always want competition in a quarterback room. Any coach is going to tell you that. And I think bringing in a veteran quarterback who has a little experience might be good for that reason. And you could let them truly battle it out, right? My most recent one, and I know every day it kind of changes, is the recent Notre Dame quarterback.
Steve Angeli.
It's Steve Angeli. And I say this because he does have experience. Like, he has been at Notre Dame, 2 years? So he's played in some games. Obviously, did not start for them last year, but has also dealt with being the backup and understanding that role as well. So if it were to be a situation where Merklinger, got the job, you still have a veteran voice in that room. That to me would be a good fit in that sense. Mm-hmm. So right now, I'd say a guy like him would make sense.
I like Steve Angeli. I think they could do a lot worse than him. Tennessee fans on Twitter have not seemed to really warm to him as much as maybe I expected, but he's just not played a lot of football is the problem. He only has 80 pass attempts as a college football player. Is the problem with Steve Angeli. So you're getting veteran leadership and you're getting an older human being. You're not getting a lot of practical playing experience at the highest level. To me, it's Luke Altmaier at Illinois. And this is another player who, when we talked about top 10 quarterbacks in college football, I said I would put on the list. He was terrific last year for Illinois, and he has experience in Heupel's system. He's run Ole Miss's system. He was the backup for Ole Miss at one point, and I think checks a lot of boxes. There's a lot of rumor mill kind of buzz around him on Twitter, and I don't know if any of that really means anything, to be quite honest with you. It's just kind of who the fan base has attached itself to. But to me, it's Luke Altmaier, it's Rocco Becht, it's Steve Angeli. I would take those 3 against the field if I'm picking who's next. I thought it was interesting in the report from Pete Nakos at On3, who's going to join 3HL, by the way, at 420. Pete Nakos today made the point that Tennessee was evaluating Steve Angeli, but they were also evaluating other options. That, to me, meant, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, they would be fine with Steve Angeli, but they've got other irons in the fire right now they're prioritizing.
Sounds like it.
It feels to me like Tennessee is content with him if they have to go that direction. There was a lot of buzz up in South Bend about him playing pretty well in that camp. Now, he's lost that job to Carr, the other guy in it, and Kenny Minchie, who's up there too, the JP2 product. But I think Steve Angeli is a very solid option. Very solid. And if he's bad, Jake Berklinger's your guy.
Exactly.
But Steve Angeli, I think you would bring in to start. I don't think you're bringing him in to just be a guy in that room. He would not be an empty chair, as Coach Mack says.
I would Luke Altmaier too. Speaking of him, because you brought him up, he's also from the South. Like he's Starkville, Mississippi guy.
Okay.
Like so he's very familiar with the big SEC. Growing up in it, obviously played at Illinois, but he's familiar with the eyes-on kind of situation that gets football down here.
Speaking of transfer quarterbacks, did you see this quote from Carson Beck this week?
Carson Beck said something?
So Miami offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson talked about the pressure for Carson Beck to fill in for Cam Ward. Says that stuff, I'm paraphrasing, doesn't bother him. Says even though filling Cam's shoes around here seems big, to him it's like, dude, stop. I followed a guy that won 2 national championships, and then we won the SEC. This ain't nothing for me. Y'all got beat in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Carson Beck to his
Cam did
OC,
sit out
Shannon
that.
Dawson.
You shouldn't say that out loud, bro.
He's got to be confident, I feel like, because he's like, he might be saying all this, y'all, but I think in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know you played at Georgia, and there are a lot of eyes on that Georgia program, but you do have to win here. Like, you are technically now a transfer quarterback that's still regarded as 5-star, who didn't get the job done at Georgia. So, talk
Not last year.
Talk your talk, but y'all, you got to back it up.
My thing is, you don't go into somebody else's neighborhood talking about your neighborhood the way he is. Like, I'm all for the confidence of playing in the SEC, but dog, you went to Miami. You already got your vehicle and your girl stolen. Stop. Okay?
That's funny.
Stop, my brother. Hey, be cool now. Go make some friends first.
OC Shannon Dawson adding he hasn't been on social media one time. He's a very private person, and you've got to get through some barriers to get to know the real him. There are no distractions now. In a lot of ways, he's a lot more relaxed. I think that did kind of bother him at times. Shannon Dawson adding about Carson Beck, I felt like he had to do social media because when you're with somebody, his now ex-girlfriend, Hannah Cavender, it is what it is, but it really wasn't who he was. Let's focus on ball.
Oh,
We'll
that's
see.
funny.
We'll see what that means on the field for
They
Mr.
even
Beck.
brought that up.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
615-737-1045. Streaming live on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The NPF era is over in Nashville. The numbers of what the Titans have left from their last 3 draft classes, not good. And we'll give it to you next.
We love being part of the moments that matter, which is why we're announcing employee pricing for everyone. You pay what we pay. Employee pricing at Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned, American made.
Unbelievable store-wide savings, up to 35% off some items too, and the selection is like double the norm. With top bridal designers coming in, showcasing all new collections, beautiful, one-of-a-kind pieces, including all new engagement ring mountings. Is more jewelry than you've ever seen in one place at prices you've never thought possible too. There'll be rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, stunning fashion jewelry that you won't be able to find anywhere else. So check out thousands of engagement ring settings in gold and platinum. Also, get special pricing on natural as well as lab-grown diamonds. This is the event where Genesis staff know they can break all the rules too. If you have any special event coming up, graduation, engagement, anniversaries, birthdays, new baby, whatever, this is a spectacular event to get that amazing gift at a huge discount. Store-wide savings up to 35%. Special financing, too, is April 25th, 26th, and 27th at Genesis Diamonds, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
8:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans made some moves yesterday, releasing offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, the former third-round pick in 2022 NFL Draft. Petit-Frere started 28 games over the last 3 seasons. The move saves the Titans $3.65 million in cap space, and in return, the Titans signed 3 offensive linemen to their 90-man roster in Sam Mustipher, Brendan James, and Oli Udoh. The Titans now just have 3 of 23 players drafted back in 2020 and 2022 on the roster, per Nick Suss of the Tennessee. And in Tennessee baseball news, they get a weekend series started tonight against Kentucky Wildcats, starting in Knoxville. Tennessee, the 4th-ranked team in the country, looking to get another SEC series win this weekend after beating Ole Miss last weekend 2-1. Coach Tony Vitello is sticking with his weekend rotation of Liam Doyle, Marcus Phillips, and Tegan Coons against Kentucky. A.J. Russell will pitch in relief. The first pitch tonight is at 5:30 Central Time. You can hear the game right here on 104.5 The Zone, starting at 6:15. And for Tennessee basketball, 5-star 6'9" forward Nate Ament from Virginia has received a crystal ball from 24/7 Sports Travis Branham, as he predicts the number 4 ranked player nationally to sign with the Vols. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW on 104.5 The Zone is already into the second half on this Friday morning. 615-737-1045. How you jump in. And you can also jump on your smart device and join the comment section on the 104.5 The Zone YouTube channel. That is where you enter the F&M Bank chats. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling will be joined by ESPN's Matt Miller coming up in 15 minutes as we get one last draft scouting report from our national friends who join the show from time to time. We'll have more next week on that as well. The next time we talk to you after today, it will be draft week at last.
Let's go.
Thank God.
About time.
Yes, it
Been a
will,
long
man. This is no, we're down the stretch right now. I saw somebody post a Creed to Jim Halpert on Office meme.
One more week.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, that's where I am. And the closer we've gotten to this draft season, too, the more the hypotheticals are popping up. I was listening to the substitute, I think it was Jeff Schwartz on Two Pros and a couple Joes this morning, speaking about the trade-out possibility. I've seen others try to have that conversation, too, to drum up some narratives and stuff like that. I think this is an open-shut case. I'm not sure if Cam Ward has his suit tailored already, but if he ain't got a two-tone blue suit or a dark blue with a Carolina blue lapel on it, then he's tripping at this point. Titans blue, my bad. Listen. That's a lot of rebranding I got to get up.
Right? He could even have the, when you open it up, he could have the customized inside.
Well,
maybe be a little.
At this point, he could. He can have a warm moon in there easily.
Yeah.
I'd have the freak in there, the player, not. I'd have Javon Curse in there. Just Eddie George, whoever else in there. He could. I do think that would be the case. As long as he doesn't pull a Devin Bush where he's got that strap across suit that he had on thingy. It was the 2019 draft. Devin Bush. Steelers end up drafting him in the first round, top 10 pick. Moved up for him.
LSU guy.
Outfit was, Devin Bush was.
LSU.
No, not Devin Bush, Devin White.
Oh, Devin White.
Devin Bush was Michigan. You remember when he stomped the middle of the field at Ohio State?
That's right.
You're right. Got my Devins confused.
But it was 2 Devins that year, Devin White and Bush.
Yep.
Yeah. Devin White, by the way, I don't think even at his original destination right now. I thought he was a really good player, man. I thought he went to Houston.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
There you go.
Both of those Devins, though, like, golly, first-round linebacker.
Very good.
Yep.
That's right. Titans yesterday released Nicholas Petit-Frere. They signed 3 linemen with a lot of experience last season. These guys combined for 35 games a year ago. The 3 linemen the Titans brought in yesterday. Sam Mustipher, Brendan James, and Oli Udoh Mustipher played 12 games and made one start at center for the Chargers in 2024. James played 9 games last year and 46 over 4 seasons with 3 AFC West teams. And Udo played 14 games for the Saints last season. Experience does not always equate to quality, but the Titans didn't have experience or quality a season ago. So this is interesting. It confirms that they took it personally, how bad their offensive line was and how bad their O-line depth was a season ago.
It was. I'll never forget watching NPF, who had been injured all spring last year, run out to practice for the first couple of days. And I was like, hell yeah. Like, let's go, NPF. This is your time. You got a coach that's willing to coach you and do the right things. Man, listen to me. It's hard to judge like good offensive linemen. What I would tell you this, good offensive linemen possess one thing, the need to work and just an attitude. Those two things combined right there. And I don't think we got much of that, if any, under NPF. Man, I think he's a great dude. He put himself in positions where he got suspended, and you never saw that fire and grit and just ticked off attitude comes out. Like, you got to have a group of guys, even if they're not the most talented, man, to possess I will kick you in the face attitude. And you did not see that. You saw him lay down time and time again. And the reason you hear me getting riled up about this is when you have that level of talent and are that athletic and you come from that big of a school and you're picked in that position, you're supposed to show.
Deliver us.
You don't lay down. You don't cop out. You don't. Man, it sucks to watch guys with that amount of talent, despite what the team record is, what the play on the field is, not fight. And for the life of me, I'll never understand a young man being in those type of positions that don't capitalize. And I tell anybody in those positions, dude, you got 4 years to change the trajectory of your life. Yeah. And considering you start at a high floor of a second round or third round pick at that point, we're talking about a minimum. Because at this point, we can speak about, we're talking about a minimum of $12 million a year. How in the hell do you just crap that away like this?
Yep.
All because of attitude. My bad, Kayla, but
no,
that
it's
pisses
not
me
attitude
off.
in the way that he wasn't like. It's not like he was a jerk, right? It was an attitude where it was almost like he was too carefree.
It's too nice.
I was a big advocate. Again, I'll admit when I'm wrong with things. I was a big advocate of MPF coming into the season because you know how I looked at it, Ramon? The same way as you did. He was a guy that had the upside. He went to a really big college where he was successful. He is smart. And I'm like, you also went through crap in terms of you did stupid stuff where you should have learned from it. And you had the ability to come back again and say, hey, I'm going to win this job. You know, whether it be the injury or the stupid gambling stuff, I'm going to prove that I am a starter on this Tennessee Titans team. And instead, you did the absolute opposite. And also, you had a coach in Bell Callahan, a, legendary offensive line coach who you should have taken every single bit of his advice and been better. Yeah. But then again, I'd see him in the locker room after a bad game, and now I can say some of this stuff. And he was just nonchalant. And it was like, I just got the vibe from him, as much as I do like him as a person, but I got the vibe from him as a player that it was just like, okay, that's okay. Like I went out there and I got, benched, but that's okay. That's the attitude I kind of felt from MPF last year when it needed to be the complete opposite attitude.
Nick Suss, the Tennessean, writes on Twitter yesterday at Nick Suss, with NPF's release, the Titans now only have 3 of 23 players drafted between 2020 and 2022 on roster. The only team with a lower percentage of 20 to 22 picks still on roster is the Arizona Cardinals. The teams with the highest percentage of 20 to 22 picks, Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, and Cincinnati. He writes, drafting matters.
It does.
100%.
Cincy, though. Cincy, I thought, would have had a better product, better results. The last couple of years, they've just been teetering back and forth. For them to have that many homegrown guys, to your point, is just like, bro, what's the issue?
Injuries, I think, have been a big issue for sure.
For sure.
But defensively, I have no excuse for them. I mean, genuinely.
I would have thought Eagles would have been Eagles, Steelers, and
Eagles.
Well, Minnesota's new to this new regime.
Eagles have made a lot of smart signings. Like Mekhi Becton's not a guy they drafted, who they developed. I mean, A.J. Brown, obviously. They didn't draft, and they developed. So maybe that's a reason why they are not on this list as much.
Retention and draft picks matter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Matters
exactly.
a lot.
To me, it's still the biggest reason why this team is where it is. It's John Robinson's parting gifts on the way out.
Right.
It's 3 really bad draft classes on the way out. And to me, he is still most responsible for why we are where we are.
Yep.
And to be real with you, you said through 22 is trailing 22. I have to look at that.
Traylon is 22.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I mean, he's limping to the finish line, too.
Right. And by the way, Jalen Duncan, adding in, I also kind of get a vibe from that, too, that he is not going to maybe be as long as this roster. You know, I think he'll be gone sooner than later.
Feels like all those guys, right? Like
Yeah,
the young day 3 picks they tried to develop into starters.
The hopefuls.
Everybody's on the clock.
That you see the talent come out. Like, that's why I would say, specifically at those positions, it is sometimes more than just talent.
Yeah.
And I say that, of course, well, Ramon, you're a free agent. Yeah, I do say that for that reason, though.
You lived?
Like,
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
the 40 times, give a damn. Like,
Yeah.
his height is this and his pedigree don't matter sometimes. Like, go find, and I hope that's where this franchise is headed to, go find ball players. Like dudes that are probably in these positions right now as Sam Mustafa and Brandon Jameis and Oli Udoh. Like those dudes might be the guys that you need, your blue-collar, hard hat type of guys moving forward to kind of reset what you're looking for in a group of guys up front.
That'd be interesting.
That's a trashy place to be at, man. I just hate that for MPF, though, because everything that you see he has is
And
what you're looking for.
Someone will give him a chance.
Oh, he
and
gonna
we've
get
seen
hired.
we saw it with Dillard. I mean, they're about on the same level at this point in terms of what they
he
did
just
not
wasn't
do
a
here.
first-round
Right,
pick.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a warm, big body. Somebody going to sign him.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Coming up, ESPN's Matt Miller joins us after this.
We've got a huge announcement from Two Rivers Ford. Justin, Two Rivers Ford is now offering employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot. And at Two Rivers Ford, what you see is always what you get. They don't do things like add those expensive, cheap accessories and tack on service packages. No, to increase the price of the vehicles. Two Rivers Ford is upfront and honest every single time, and now they're offering you employee pricing. There's no better time to buy American. There's no better dealership than Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years and home to the non-commissioned sales team also. And now home to employee pricing for everyone. From America for America. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Friday morning rolls on here on RKW, brewed by Scooters Coffee. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. Continuing the Titans NFL draft discussion this morning with our good friend Matt Miller of ESPN, kind enough to give us a few minutes on this Friday. Matt, what's going on, man? How are you?
Oh, well, guys. Appreciate you having me on again.
Absolutely. Hey, I think now that Treylon Burks is seen as a top 4 receiver in the NFL by Cam Ward, we can just go ahead and start putting the jerseys on pre-order before next Thursday night in Green Bay. What do you like about the Cam Ward fit with Brian Callahan and his future here as the number 1 overall pick in Tennessee?
Yeah, well, I guess I was also wrong about Treylon Burks. He's the top 4 receiver in the NFL, so my bad on that one. Sorry, I steered you wrong on that grade that I had on him. I would say with Cam Ward, you're getting a playmaker, which is huge. You know, someone who can create on his own with the arm angles, with the mobility, someone who has really good field vision, really good arm strength. The way that he moves to find passing windows is pretty exciting. Like, I think that's what he does best. And then we saw this past year at Miami, when he had some weapons, he really took that next step. And you could go back to when he was at Washington State, some of the things that he and Kyle Williams did together. I mean, there was some really good moments, but he took that huge step this year in limiting turnovers, limiting some of the sacks that he was taking before. So I think you're getting somebody that's more of a finished product than you might have expected, but the 5 years in college helped, and he's experienced and he's smart.
ESPN's Matt Miller, our guest this morning at NFL Draft Scout, where you follow him. Great stuff, as always, on Twitter. So, Matt, how can Brian Callahan set up Cam Ward to be successful? Is there a pathway to Cam having a Jaden Daniels-like rookie season, and what will it take schematically to get the most out of him in 2025?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put those expectations on him just because Jaden was different. Like, Jaden as a runner, and I took heat for this last year, I said he was similar to Lamar Jackson as a runner.
Sure.
So you're not going to get that. I think the key here, guys, is, and I hope this is something the Titans attack with pick 35, is they need more weapons. Because, I mean, like, obviously Calvin Ridley and Treylon Burks are now top 5 receivers in the NFL, but realistically speaking, you need more help. And I think that's the key here. Let's see what this reshuffled offensive line looks like. So as far as scheme-wise, I would want to, get him moving a little bit. I would want some moving pockets. I would want some play action, some RPO, take advantage of what the threat that his legs could be. You've got 2 speedy backs and Spears and Pollard who can be really helpful to that. So I would want to keep defenses guessing as much as possible. Utilize the middle of the field. Ridley is an elite route runner. Get him on some breaking routes, things like that. But I would love to see this team add another receiver somewhat early in this draft.
ESPN's Matt Miller is with us this morning discussing pre-draft opportunities for the Titans and everyone else, man. Speaking of the value and being able to help potentially Cam Ward being drafted here, what's a better value, though, in the second round? Because the Titans don't have that third, and that's a long way from pick 35 to pick 101. Would you say a better value is a wide receiver like a Luther Burden, or would you go second round D-tackle, D-end type of guy to help him defensively to get the ball back?
Yeah, so I would go wide receiver. That's a great question. And Luther Burden's my guy. He's my top receiver in this draft. And it's going to be a shame if he gets drafted at 35, but I'll be very happy for Titans fans if he does. I think the drop-off at wide receiver happens in round 3. I have 5 receivers in round 2, 5 receivers in round 3. I only have 2 in round 4 and only 2 in round 5. So there's a pretty significant drop-off. I think when you look at defensive tackle, defensive end, you're going to be able to find value in round 5. I have 6 defensive ends. I've got 3 defensive tackles. So you're going to be able to get some good value there. And I even think in round 4, round 4, I have 10 defensive tackles with a grade in round 4. So just the way the board sets up from the grade perspective, I would go receiver in 2. I go D tackle in 4. And then if you wanted to get an edge rusher, I would do that in round 5.
Man, but we've heard and seen a lot of speaking about I want to transition to the quarterbacks real quick. As far as the guys after Cam, I have to ask you specifically about one guy, Shedeur Sanders, man. Has Deion presence, name, notoriety affected him more than almost any other quarterback that can be drafted in, the late first to second round? Like, has his presence caused a lot? Right now, you got the jersey retirement conversation, and you say, well, it's another Deion Sanders situation. I know it doesn't affect him as a pro, but at least the perception of the prospect. How are you viewing him in the pre-draft with what you're looking for?
I don't think it's affected him negatively. And the teams that I've talked to, and I've talked to people with the Titans about it, they really enjoyed their time with Shedeur, whether that be at the East West Shrine or at the Combine. Like, the interviews went well. So I think you have to view it you can view it two ways. There could be people who say, like he's bringing his own show to our team. He's going to think he's bigger than our team. There's going to be people that can have that opinion. I'm more of the opinion of he knows how to operate in the spotlight because he's been in it, for the last 4 years, certainly. But for a lot of his life, he's had to learn how to live in that spotlight. So I think there could be positives that come from it. I think, for some of the stuff with Shedeur, like the jersey retirement and his dad being famous, he didn't ask for those things. They're just a byproduct of his life that he's going to have to learn to navigate. I think we're honestly to the point where teams are starting to just evaluate him based on his potential and his traits and his play instead of, some of the mystique that comes around him and some of the attention that he had for the 2 years at Colorado. And that's why we're seeing the discrepancy in where he could be drafted. It's based more on, okay, here's a good college quarterback. He's not very big, not very strong, not very fast. Where do you rank a player like that? Well, realistically, it's late first round. That's where players like that almost always go.
Matt Miller of ESPN. You can check out his great work on ESPN. Also, he will be on the cast for their draft coverage coming up here next week. We're excited about that. Matt, when it comes to, I'm going to go back to the wide receiver conversation because obviously that's a hot topic here. You described maybe, Treylon Burks has not worked out. A lot of fans, they want to draw that connection to Cam Ward has played with Xavier Restrepo. Cam Ward has played with Kyle Williams at Washington State. Where do those guys land then with where you would put them and where you could grab them?
I love Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
So that would be fun just to get those two together. I look at Kyle, I think he goes third round. And it's probably going to be early third round.
Wow.
And some of that's going to depend on what happens to Luther Burden, what happens to the guys from Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Where does Trey Harris from Ole Miss go? If those guys go earlier, Kyle's going to get pulled up a little bit. So I think round 3 is realistic. Xavier Restrepo, man, that's tough because it's one of my favorite players to watch. But the pad 40 time, like not being a super dynamic athlete, he's going to go round 5, round 6. He's going to be in that range. So if you're wanting to take a day 3 flyer on someone that you have some familiarity with, I think that's the way to go. Elijah Arroyo had his best year ever with Cam Ward at quarterback, playing tight end. He's going to go in the second round. Probably not a priority for the Titans in round 2 to get a tight end, but those are the guys that he's most familiar with. And then Jamie Martinez, a running back, is probably going to go in round 4 or round 5, and that's another spot. I don't know that we're seeing Tennessee spend a pick that early on a running back.
What's interesting here too, Matt? They've brought in obviously top 30 visits. They've had some running backs that they've brought in, and I think when you look at that running back room for the Titans right now, you're like, well, it looks complete. But they seem to be serious about that. Is there a complimentary back that they could go for, in rounds 4 and later that would work?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it would work because you have two guys who are kind of similar in Pollard and Spears. They're both under 200 pounds. So I look at this and say, all right, I want somebody that can get the tough yards, that can move the pile. Cam Scatterbo would be really interesting in round 5. And I know every time I say Cam Scatterbo round 5, people are like, what? Are you crazy? But no, really. I know he was great in the college football playoffs. I know he tore up the Longhorns, and he's a great story, and he's fun to watch. But he's limited athletically. There's not a lot of juice to his game. He's really a leaning runner. I bet he goes around 4 or round 5, so he could be someone that fits that role really well. I like Devin Neal from Kansas as well in that same range as somebody who can move the pile, can be physical, but also is a good receiver out of the backfield.
Matt Miller of ESPN with us at NFL Draft Scout, where you follow him on Twitter. Matt, as you look at what the Titans could do, like you mentioned on day 2, 3, I know you were a big fan of Chris Paul, the linebacker out of Ole Miss. Where is their value on day 3 in that position, and maybe even a coverage linebacker that's a little bit off the beaten path that is a role player the Titans you feel like could be interested in?
Yeah, Paul is my guy. He's going to probably go round 4, round 5. Here's the point. I love the day 3 linebacker class this year. And I said this on Twitter to someone the other day. I said, getting Demetrius Knight in the 4th or 5th round from South Carolina, who could be that coverage backer. I mean, he is so smooth and fluid, and he's so good in coverage. Barrett Carter from Clemson. Years ago, we're talking about Barrett Carter, the first-round pick. He's going to be a day 3 guy. And he's ideal for a weak side linebacker role. He's ideal in coverage. Toby King from Penn State's going to be a 4th or 5th round pick. Kane Medrano is going to be a 4th or 5th round pick. I'm very happy that I'm on the desk for day 3 of the draft because all these dang linebackers are going to get selected, and I'm going to be geeking out because I think they can all become NFL starters. And if you look at pull-up depth charts in the NFL, there aren't many linebackers, starting linebackers who are drafted in the first round. It's a lot of guys who fell in the draft for one reason or another. Nick Bolton, Zach Bond, guys like that who slide in the draft a little bit and then end up becoming starters and really good players. So I really do think like day 3 is the time to get your starting linebacker.
Matt, we are definitely familiar with what the NFL feels about Art Briles' coaching tree system quarterback. So we lived it a couple years ago with Hendon Hooker when he came out of Tennessee. With Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, what makes him different as a prospect to where maybe he shouldn't be typecast as one of those guys? And what do you like or don't like about him and now potentially a first-round pick at quarterback?
Yeah, I like him a lot, and I've been biased because I've seen him in person a couple of times. I think the difference is the traits and that he's young. With Hendon, he was a little bit older of a prospect. He was also coming off an injury. I like Hendon, though. I think guys like that who you know how to take those deep shots, you know how to read the field, down the field. I think Jackson moves better than Hendon did. He's certainly more physical, at 225 pounds. And I think with where the league is at right now, the hard part with that offense and with these quarterbacks is that it's hard to throw deep in the NFL. Everybody's sitting back trying to take away the big play. You have to be able to throw a touch and timing on underneath routes. You have to be able to pick people apart. That's where Jackson, I think, struggles at times, is seeing it fast enough to make some of those throws. So that's going to be a big part of his development. But I think he's smart enough, and I think he's determined enough to be able to do that.
ESPN Matt Miller is joining us this morning. You can follow him on Twitter at NFL Draft Scout, just so you know. Matt, and with that, you've done this for years now, and I want to revisit a guy, if you don't mind, recently, 3 years ago, Will Levis, coming out of college. How did you view him versus what he's done currently in the NFL? Is this kind of the crash course of what he would turn into if not being successful, or is this a product of the system and coaching changes and everything else?
I think everyone's a product of both, honestly. Like, you're a product of your system to some degree. You're a product of your own abilities. I took a lot of heat. When Will Levis came out, I was not the biggest fan. I had a second-round grade on him, and I had folks upset when I said that because they're like, he's going to go in the top 5. He's going to go to the top 10. And I just didn't see it. I did not think he should be rated that highly. And I don't want to take a victory lap and say, oh, my gosh, look how right I was about Will Levis. But I think he's played about to that level, where he's been good, not great. And obviously they're moving on after 2 years. And when you're moving on after 2 years of a guy who you have under rookie control at pick 33, that's a pretty cheap starting quarterback. So to move on, you got to say, like, okay, we know that he's not going to be the guy for us. And obviously, we're looking at the third general manager since he was drafted. So that affects things as well. But I still have hope that Levis can have his Sam Darnold or Geno Smith moment where he gets to a new spot and he's learned some lessons as a player and he can take those and apply them. I don't think, it's not time to kick him out of the NFL or anything, but that reckless style that he played with in college, he played with in the NFL, and from a downfield passing perspective, from a running perspective, I think he's just got to learn to give up on what's not there.
Matt Miller of ESPN joining us this morning. We're talking about the upcoming NFL draft. Let's go back to the quarterback conversation. It's always a conversation. But when it comes to reaching for some of these guys, we've mentioned Jackson Dart. We've mentioned Shedeur Sanders. What about these guys right now that I feel like are getting a lot of buzz, like a Tyler Shuck? Like, are you on that or are you off that train?
I'm hearing it, so I believe it, but I'm not. I'm not out here saying you should draft Tyler Shuck in the top 30. I don't think I'm not going to go there. But this happens every year, right? Yeah. Even the Willis year, or the Levis year, it was all this talk about Will Levis is going to go top, and then before that it was Malik Willis, and before that it was Desmond Ridder. So it happens every year. I think we're all trying to make the Lamar Jackson year happen again, where someone trades back to 32 to get that 5th year on a quarterback. I don't think it's happened since then. But it's such a fun storyline, and it makes sense. Well, you got to trade back in to get the 5th year option. No one has done it. So we'll see. I've heard it with Tyler Shuck. I've heard it with Jalen Miller. I've heard it with Jackson Dart. Before that, it was Quinn Ewers. Like, it's been every quarterback in this class, it feels like. So we'll see when we get to next Thursday. I think we have one first-round quarterback in Cam Ward. We have one late first-round quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. Then we got a lot of second-round players that might get overdrafted.
Matt, when you look at the former Vol James Pierce now and what the film shows, I know the off-field stuff is the off-field stuff with him, but what are the positives and negatives on tape of him as a prospect?
Yeah, I mean, the positives of the first step quickness is it's unreal, and it's how he is able to have so much success. And over the past 2 years, his closing speed to the quarterback is ridiculous. I mean, he's a legit, like, I thought on tape he was a 4-4 guy. He's so athletic in space. He can be used to stunt. He can loop. He can beat you up as a spy. I mean, he's a classic 3-4 outside linebacker. And it's funny, if we were 1 year ago, I knew teams that had him as the top pass rusher in last year's draft had he been able to declare. He would have gone above Latu. He would have gone above Dallas Turner. But then he had a slow start this year, and you hear about the off-field stuff. You hear about the character stuff, and it's dropped his stock to where, I mean, he could go first round, but I don't think we should be surprised if he's sitting there middle of the second round waiting to be picked.
Matt, maybe I'm early on this conversation, but I am curious with the Nico Iamaleava news all around the state and with him probably ending up at UCLA now. How much prep have you done on him maybe as a quarterback next year? And if you have watched some of that film, just how far away is he from being a legit NFL quarterback prospect?
Yeah, I've watched him while watching other players on the team, so I wouldn't say that I've done a deep enough dive to say, like, oh, here's what he's got to get better at. I mean, obviously, he's skinny. Takes a lot of hits in the pocket. That was my initial concern is, like, man, this guy's too small to be taking these shots. And I know that his family has maybe said that was part of the reason for the transfer. But I will be excited. I know he had a lot of hype coming out. So I hope he gets it figured out, and hopefully the Vols find somebody and they can roll with it. That happened last year. Was it who was it last year? Somebody had lost their quarterback like week 2 because of NIL, and they went on and had a hell of a run.
Oh, UNLV.
Yeah,
that's right.
I wanted to say Utah, and I knew that was wrong. So, it's like, sometimes it works out best for everybody, and I'm a big Josh Heupel fan. I love watching that offense, so I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Matt, I wanted to ask you real quick, as the NFL is always cycling in quarterbacks, how soon do you need to see what they're made of? Is it, what do you need to see in year one, I guess is what I'm saying, for a guy to know that you have the guy? Because even though Chicago didn't have a great year, they still say, well, look what Caleb did. I think Bryce Young had a shaky one, but he bounced back in year 2. By when do you have to know? Is it the Will Levis 2-year markers where you got to find out?
I think by year 2, yeah, you need to have a lot of belief in the guy. Year 1, I think it's about, hey, from a personality, leadership, work ethic perspective, do we have the guy? How's he prep? Is he a professional? That's what you want to see in year 1. Year 2 is like, all right, let's put this together. We need to see it all on the field now. And so for like Jaden Daniels obviously is ahead of the curve. CJ Stroud was ahead of the curve because of the rookie years they had. Guys like Bryce Young, what a great bounce back he had second half of last season. I think for Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May, Michael Penix, it's like, okay, you basically went through like kindergarten. Now it's time to learn a little bit, and you want to see it out on the field. So for all those guys, and I think we're going to see that with their teams, even trying to build to support this draft.
So going into year 1 with Cam Ward, record shouldn't matter. We need to be looking at the attributes is what we're looking at, how we judge what the future should look like.
Absolutely. Like, who cares if you go 3-14, but your quarterback plays really well?
Okay.
If you go 3-14, you're going to be able to get one of the top D lines. So it's like, I mean, you want to win and you want that spark. Obviously, because of Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud, everybody wants that quick turnaround. It's not always real, and it doesn't always mean a whole lot how well you do in year 1. I think it's more about laying the foundation, and learning how to be a professional.
He is Matt Miller. You'll see him on ESPN's draft coverage in Green Bay next weekend at NFL Draft Scout, a must-follow for Titans fans, for NFL draft fans, which if you listen to us, of course you are this morning. Matt, always great stuff. I appreciate it as always. Looking forward to watching next week.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks,
yes, sir.
Matt.
Matt Miller joining us here this morning. If you missed any of that, you can catch it wherever you download podcasts. And a good breakdown on a number of prospects. Interesting, Luther Burden, one of his guys.
He said he's my favorite.
He said it sucks if he's at 35. It'd be awesome for the Titans. I
Right.
like the way he talked. Matt's super fast like me. He's not super long in this conversation, so you can get a lot of questions in with him.
He does a great job.
Yeah, he
He does.
does.
Coming up, there is a GM in the NFL that summed up in one sentence what I want the Titans to do. And that's next. Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. The weather is warmer. We're spending time outside. Maybe you're at the cookout and you hear the person on the grill more than the person that's next to you. Maybe you're going down to the beach. You're taking out maybe those hearing devices that they're helping you hear better. You're a couple waves away for the rest of the conversation, a couple towels away. You're hearing the speaker next to you, not the person speaking next to you. Well, I want to tell you about a revolutionary new product, the Phonak Sphere. It's not only designed to help you hear when there's background noise, but it is also the only completely waterproof hearing aid on the market. So whether you're working up a sweat in the yard or you're just hanging out in the pool, the ocean, you can still participate in conversations. This is just part of the best technology on the market that you get when you call my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. 615-377-0420 or visit them online at brentwoodhearingcenter.com. Again, that's 615-377-0420. Find out what sounds you have been missing and get back in the game. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the third hour of the show. And 104.5 The Zone is teamed up with Game Terminal for their 4th annual Beer Fest on Saturday, May the 17th. Get ready for a day filled with beer, cider, and alcohol tastings, games, fun, and excitement. You can buy your tickets now for $40 or $50 at the door. Beer tastings, gift bag, and swag will be included with each purchase, and a portion of proceeds go to Nashville Humane Association. For more info to purchase tickets, visit 1045thezone.com/events. Lions general manager Brad Holmes, via the Lions team website, has the exact motto that I hope the Titans use in their draft room for this draft. Quote, I think you can get in trouble chasing needs sometimes, and then you're depending on a rookie. You do the best you can, but nobody has a crystal ball. It can be a tough world to live in. Again, after talking to Matt Miller a minute ago, I don't care what position the Titans draft. As long as they get a quarterback and a wide receiver, give me best available at every turn. And it sounds like from talking to Matt, they can get some good defensive guys at D-line and at linebacker on day 3.
Yeah, the 4th round was super unique right there, man. If you're still getting quality there, absolutely take it. I thought it was fascinating hearing him say, the best position to take at 2 would probably be a wide receiver. That makes perfect sense. Absolutely, especially if it's value. That's where I think this team has lacked a good bit as of late, has been like the value of the players on your team, the quality of them. Because, again, it's hard making average players great sometimes, right? And then bad players good. That's just how it goes. If you can start high, man, and finish high and pour into them and create a system in place that where there's a continuation of this. That, to me, is where the good franchises are. A player leaves in free agency or retires. Hey, we got what we like right here in this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I still think there is a possibility where you could present an opportunity to go try to, if you're a team, trade up and the Titans trade down maybe, and find a way to still maybe get something later in that second round and then possibly pick up a third where you could get a wide receiver. Because I know he had mentioned the 2 wide receivers with Restrepo and Williams that have played with Cam. He liked Williams especially, but you could probably get him now, but it's not going to maybe be in the 4th round where you thought he would be before.
Is the Xavier Restrepo 40 time at the pro day a deal breaker for you?
I don't know.
It's not for me.
It's not really for me either.
His tape says
I think
different.
we're kind of putting too much into that.
If he's the second receiver that you take, then I am great with taking him on the 3rd day of the draft.
3rd day of the draft.
If you, I think Xavier Restrepo is competing to start at slot for this team this season. Pretty immediately.
Well, there's not much there, yeah.
Honestly. And that's not, again, like I just said, that's not enough reason to draft him just because he'd be on the team this year. But I look at guys like Jawan Jennings and a better example, Anquan Bolden. And it just, if you can catch, if you can get open, you don't always have to burn people without shoulder pads on.
It's possession. So it's Puka Nacua for me, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea that you have one of those types of possession guy that can move the chains or just beat this guy consistently. That would be huge, especially close to the line of scrimmage. If he's not your burner, his tape shows that, look, he's got the wiggle. Wes Welker. Right? How in the heck was Wes Welker able to get open the way he was at times, right? And that's what you're looking for. That's right there. I'm not sure if they've had. That's what you hope for Kyle Phillips, right? Who's the list of guys we've had here that's tried to play that role for?
Adam Humphries,
Adam
Kyle
Humphries.
Phillips, Mason Kinsey. You've had, Marcus Johnson for a spell. You had Chester Rogers.
There's a need.
You've had Tyler Boyd.
Yes. Like
Golden Tate on the practice squad who was supposed to fix everything just because he's from here.
I forgot about all these guys, man.
Oh, yeah.
But think about the void it's been, though. Like, consistently, that's been a spot that's been missing as of late. Like, you move Calvin Ridley around to get him across the middle of time or two, but that ain't the role you want him in.
Right. Like, with all due respect to Chika Okonkwo is an athletic specimen who is still inconsistent catching the ball and consistently getting open and holding on to it when he's got it.
Yeah.
Like, relative athletic score is a tool. It is not the end-all, be-all. And some guys, as Tony Keeley just said it in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube, some dudes are just ball players. Restrepo is a ball player. To me, it feels like the Titans chase the athletic traits more often than they chase good football players. Just give me a good football player. And I think Xavier Restrepo is a good football player.
Nothing else matters, right? Just play ball
That's
at
right.
this point. Like, yeah, I criticize the heck out of the 4A because you just don't see that from a guy with that type of production. Considering he's not super big, he needed to, fight to really get open. He was there at Miami for a while, hence the records that he has. But if he can play and his football speed is way different, Juju Smith-Schuster wasn't that fast.
Yeah.
Okay, from my understanding, Antonio Brown was not that fast. But you find ways to get open and maximize your strengths, and teams have to also be able to scheme those guys up, too. I always charge the coaches in these situations. They have to play a part in this also.
And that's part of what we have to see out of Brian Callahan. We have to, we talk about all these players and, what they need to be. Brian Callahan also needs to help elevate and be able to up his game in terms of his play calling. And I think that will happen with the comfortability now being there, but we have to hold him accountable as well.
So we got a good question I want to answer from Twitter, at Ramon Kayla Will, always, where you can interact with the show and watch the show live. Maddie writes in and says, if the Titans get lucky and get Luther Burden to pair with Ward and James Pierce is still on the board, let's say at pick 45, would you package a few picks to trade back up and draft him? That would be 3 potential franchise-changing players. Jeff will keep James Pierce Jr. in check. I'm willing to have the James Pierce to the Titans conversation. I don't think this team, though, is in position to chase anyone and trade up for much of anybody.
That's where I'd say it probably won't happen.
They're probably not going to move on from draft capital, despite the fact that they have 2 fourth-round picks. So let's change the question a little bit and ask, are you willing to trade down and take James Pierce? Let's say if you do move back from 35 and James Pierce Jr. is sitting there in the mid-40s. Are you interested?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's instant, and that's a Vol answer for you too. Yes, I would absolutely.
And then go
take
get a
that.
wide receiver in the third.
But how many DNs out here running 4.4s?
Not many.
I mean, this is a run you down from behind.
But him and Landon
tackler.
Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, like, yes, I'm taking that opportunity too. I would add more fuel to the fire on this one, but I'm not going to choose violence on a beautiful day like Friday, okay?
Really?
I'll leave it
Wait,
alone.
what's the
What
fuel?
kind of violence
now
are
I
you?
want to know.
Hypothetically, if you
You know
were
where
going to
I'm
choose
going.
violence, what would you say?
Hypothetically, if I was choosing violence, if you remove Jeffrey Simmons and do as you said yesterday, pull the 49ers, and where they got rid of DeForest Buckner to reset their franchise, are you willing to also take another second and a third and maybe a next year 2 for Jeffrey Simmons to also get James Pierce, plus one of those 4th-round D tackles that Matt Miller brought up? It's a whole lot more assets than you have right now.
You just
I'm
need the
personally
leadership, though,
Yeah,
still
I know.
in that room.
I told you I was choosing violence.
No, it's okay.
I told
'Cause
y'all.
You
I
have to
said-
put everything into this.
Y'all didn't
in
want to hear
terms
that on
of-
Good Friday today. I get it.
situation.
This is a me thing. This is just where
Nah.
I'm at this one. So Will brought up that point about DeForest Buckner being traded to the
Yeah.
Colts, right? And they got assets for a guy like him who was almost, I think, in a very similar spot.
I still think the best you're going to get for Jeffrey Simmons is 1 day 2 pick and 1 day 3 pick, personally.
Understood. If you can get 2 2s, a 2 and a 3 and a 2 next year, we
Oh,
cooking.
yeah.
That'd be crazy.
100%.
I think he's
That'd
worth
be
that.
wild.
That's my opinion.
So I did just see, because he just tweeted it out. Paul Gaharski on Twitter says, 2 execs from other teams tell me they have no sense that Jeffrey Simmons is on the market.
Yeah.
One of them said he thinks Simmons would be worth a second or a third.
I saw that too.
That's starting negotiating price for me.
I agree. And if you're getting rid of a player like that, then it's for over asking price. We're selling this house at a profit.
Buyer's market,
And
no
the deficit.
seller's market.
Not Michael Scott selling his condo on eBay for 80% of asking price.
I hated
Buyer
that
was
for
Mary
Michael.
motivated, sold in record time. It's okay. He didn't get the job in New York. He got it back. 615-737-1045. Brent Hubs of AllQuest joined us earlier this morning talking about Tennessee's next move at quarterback. We asked him about one prospect who is officially in the transfer portal, and we'll tell you what he said next.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn. Good people, if y'all are like me, man, and just want to be the envy of your neighborhood, guess what? With your lawns, you need to call Secure Lawn. They are the best at doing it, man. I gave a virtual high five to my lawn guy, John, the other day, man, because he was like, hey, we are a great tandem with this grass and yard thing. And we are. And I throw Secure Lawn in there too, man, because when you drive by, you see a lot of greenery. No weeds, no crabgrass growing, no broadleaf. None of that is going on. Because Secure Lawn does a really good job, man, of the pre-emergent, the chemicals they put down, but they're just really good at what they do. It is that simple, man. They're family-owned and operated and local, so you know we love that. They've been serving Middle Tennessee for over 20 years. They're punctual and with great response time all the time. They protect all types of grass and service any type of lawn that you have, whether it be yours, residential, whether it be commercial, or even the athletic fields for you soccer and football coaches and baseball coaches out there. So go ahead and reach out to the company I trust at Secure Lawn. You can call them at 615-893-8455 or go to securelawn.com.
901 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans made some moves yesterday, releasing offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, the former third-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Petit-Frere started 28 games over the last 3 seasons, and it saves the Titans $3.65 million in cap space. In return, the Titans signed 3 offensive linemen to their 90-man roster: Sam Mustipher, Brendan James, and Oli Udoh. And in baseball, the Tennessee Vols get a weekend series started against the Kentucky Wildcats tonight in Knoxville. Coach Tony Vitello is sticking with his weekend rotation of Liam Doyle, Marcus Phillips, and Tegan Coons against Kentucky. A.J. Russell is pitching in relief. The first pitch is tonight at 5:30 Central Time. You can hear the game right here on 104.5 The Zone starting at 6:15. And in basketball, the Tennessee Vols are said to be having the crystal ball for Nate Ament. 5-star, 6'9" forward from Virginia is predicted to go to the Vols after 24/7 Sports' Travis Brennan is his prediction. And for the NBA, the battle for the final spots in the NBA playoffs start tonight. In the East, it's the Atlanta Hawks versus the Miami Heat. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. And in the West, it's the Memphis Grizzlies taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Tip-off for that one is at 8:30. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW on 104.5 The Zone is into hour 4 already. It happens fast. It really does. It almost as quickly as how quickly you're going to eat a Scooter's Coffee cinnamon roll this morning. It's going to be warm and fresh for you. The icing is soft. It's sweet. It's fantastic. Anything you're going to get at Scooter's Coffee. Friday's kind of a cinnamon roll vibe. Like if Friday was a breakfast item, it would be a cinnamon roll. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling with you. You got locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Make sure you get that Scooter's Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Tennessee is looking for a quarterback. Did you guys know that?
Heard about it.
I heard that.
Nico Iamaleava is soon to be a UCLA Bruin, we think. Until I see him on the official UCLA account practicing. Or not practicing, or maybe reports that he's skipping practice. I'll believe it when I see it.
That's where I'm at. Is there a way for this to fail?
Oh, there's always
a way.
With Big Nick in the mix.
Oh, Big Nick in the mix.
Big Nick.
Only Big Nick we represent is Anasicki, okay? You hear me?
Absolutely.
That's the homie right
Lady
there.
Vol
right?
legend.
Vol.
That's right.
But the longer this goes on, considering the portal is open, like I do question, well, what's the holdup?
Yeah.
Like everybody somewhat said, wait a minute, pump your brakes a little bit, but like what's the holdup in a situation like this? More dollars, trying to find more dollars, trying to figure out what's going on with their current quarterback right now, the Appalachian State, if I get my words together.
Joey Aguilar.
Yeah.
Joey Aguilar. I mean, they got a firestorm out there too. They got to figure out.
Yep.
Did you see Cordell Landers, the family friend, has gone back at people on Twitter again?
Cordell, come on,
Why doesn't he
Cordell.
stay off this stuff?
So yesterday,
Sound like drugs right there, Kayla. You stay off this
I know,
stuff.
right?
he
Stay off Cordell.
retweets a Tulane reporter saying Tulane never had interest in Nico Iamaleava.
Right.
He says, "This is why I stopped entertaining the clown at Pete Nakos." Now my question is, will Tennessee come out and do the same thing? At On3, at Pete Thamel. At the end of the day, Pete was just reporting. Next time, fact check before you post. Much respect. Doesn't sound like much respect in that tweet.
No.
Then he says, this was last night at 7:24 p.m. One person tells a story to 20 people. By the time it gets to the 20th person, it's far from the truth. On3 is ran by Tennessee guys, he says, who broke the fake news. On3, nobody took the time to figure that out. We also found out who gave the story to at Pete Nakos, but nobody fact checks it. Cordell Landers is, as the kids say, getting ratioed on Twitter by people replying back to him. Not a good look for the family advisor and agent of Nico Iamaleava.
The best lesson is here, it can't win.
No.
It cannot win
Just
at all.
log
It
off,
is, go
They
with
need
that.
to stay quiet.
Want me to
is
go with
what
that?
they need to do.
I'll go with that. From my sources that I know,
Yes.
that is a lie by by what's his
Cordell?
name here?
Cordell
Cordell.
Landers.
Yeah.
Because Shannon Terry is a Bama guy.
Correct.
See, this is
Correct.
Shannon Terry is an Alabama guy.
who runs a pretty successful.
He just replied
fastest-
back to it. Did
Yeah,
you see
like,
it?
come
yeah.
on.
I'm going to read it.
Yeah,
See
if
if I
you
can
want to.
find it
I
real
mean,
quick.
if you can, popcorn read right here, Will. I got it pulled up right now, but you go ahead and do that.
Well, whatever you want. It's all right.
It's cool. I like when we do this type of thing, when it's a little off the rails a little bit from time to time.
That's fine.
Shannon Terry says, On 3 isn't run by Tennessee guys. Another inaccurate claim from your camp. Everything in Pete Nako's story, who will be on 3HL, by the way, this afternoon at 4:20, was accurate. If it impacted your negotiations around Nico negotiating for, quote, wide receivers or a better offensive line, that's unfortunate. But Pete was doing his job. Your team downplayed the money angle, but the facts say otherwise, Shannon Terry adds. On 3 did its job, and everything Nako's reported has proven true. UCLA is a great school. Instead of asking for more NIL money, maybe ask for credits toward their crisis management curriculum.
Shannon
I
Terry
love that
got
from Shannon.
time.
I love that so much from
Hey,
Shannon.
he got time,
That's
man.
hilarious.
On 3 is one of the fastest, no, it's the fastest growing college sports website for a reason.
It's really
They
good.
have hired really talented and smart people who have built these things from the ground up before. Like Shannon's been involved with all of the recruiting services that you know today. They know what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Nico's camp does.
Yeah, this is fascinating, man. Ran by UT.
It's an
guys.
all-time crash out from
is.
Team Nico.
And again, we
It's an
said this
all-time
3
crash out.
days ago. Just be quiet. You're not helping yourselves at the moment, and you're not helping Nico at the moment with
This ain't
you
on.
running your mouth and going back and forth on social media. It clearly no one knows what they're doing over there, and no one has the capacity to say cap it.
They've gone the opposite direction of the way they should be going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, they should fall on their swords and detach themselves from Nico. And if I'm Cordell Landers or Nick Iamaleava, do the thing that actually helps the main character in the story, which isn't you, by the way, even though they
Exactly.
think it's them. And fall on your sword. Hey, we overplayed our hand. We messed up. We wish Nico the best at his next stop, but we're going to remove ourselves from this situation. Maybe he actually would get as much money as he was getting from Tennessee if you did that. But instead, now your boy's going to have to take a pay cut.
Right now, the noise is too loud for any team to somewhat take them serious in a sense. And maybe they'll get something back. But here's the other side of Cordell Landers going back at on 3 is this. In his bio on his page, he's got former assistant director, player personnel and development at UF. That's Florida.
Former, yeah. He used to be in
former.
Florida.
Like, legitimate, what I'm getting at is,
Right.
hey, everybody's got an attachment to a school, especially in the SEC. Rodney Garner's coach were Auburn, Georgia, now at Tennessee,
Went
or
to
was
Auburn,
at
yeah.
Tennessee.
Been
Like,
everywhere.
this is a part of the operation. Like, this isn't a matter of school connection. This is a matter of business. And right now, they gotta stop talking. Right now, Tennessee hasn't said much, if anything at all, as of late.
So Brent Hubbs was on the show earlier this morning. Steve Angeli has reportedly lost the quarterback battle at Notre Dame to C.J. Carr. I asked Brent if Steve Angeli was in the mix for Tennessee, and Brent had this to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tennessee has interest in a lot of people right now, and are evaluating a lot of guys, and that's a guy that they're certainly evaluating and looking at, and where that goes, today, where that goes, in the next hour, we'll see. I mentioned this on VolQuest last night when some people were disappointed that we haven't thrown out a bunch of names. Here's a scenario that was presented to me over a 24-hour span. Scenario 1. Tennessee's in pretty good shape. They got a real shot with this guy. 3 hours later, no, he's going to stay where he's at. He's not leaving. The next morning, hey, it's not dead yet. There's still a chance. That's what you're dealing with here, because agents are trying to leverage everything, and kids and their families are trying to decide if they want to uproot and figure out if they can establish themselves in 100 days to be the next quarterback and a successful quarterback at a new place like Tennessee. So obviously the young man from Notre Dame is leaving. He is moving, and Tennessee is absolutely evaluating him. And I would almost guarantee that his agent has called Tennessee, because you know he's looking for a new home, right? Like, it's not like he might go in, he might not go in. He has definitely gone in. Now, he's not the most established guy. He has played and has experience, but it's not like he's a 2-year starter there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I would definitely put him on the list right now. I put a lot of people on the list. The question is, are any of those guys going to move? He's one we definitely know is moving.
So there's frustration from Tennessee fans because people aren't putting out names. It is in no one's best interest to have names put out there other than the agents who are representing guys who are going to stay and get a raise. Like if Tennessee, say hypothetically, I'm just putting out a name, says we're interested in Luke Altmaier, quarterback at Illinois. And in a 24-hour span, like Brent said, Luke Altmaier decides, actually, I'll take a raise and stay at Illinois. And then they have to go settle for Steve Angeli. Well, how does that make the fan base feel about Steve Angeli?
Yeah.
How does that make Steve Angeli feel about Steve Angeli? You are publicly wanting someone else. And now, we'll settle for... That's not going to inspire much confidence in that person being your next starting quarterback. So it is smart on the Tennessee front to, A, avoid tampering charges and getting in trouble by not putting any names out there who aren't even in the portal yet, and B, not undermining the authority of whoever's next by saying they're interested in X, Y, or Z player.
Two things that's happened this week is from the Star Telegram. You have TCU quarterback Josh Hoover's camp is saying that, hey, Tennessee offered $1 million more than what he had at the time. And you know what happened? He got a raise and stayed at TCU.
Yep.
Whether Tennessee did or not, his agents put us out there. You
Exactly.
don't really know
Leverage.
what the truth is, too.
They call that Mike Gundying.
Yes, they do. And the other part, or Jimmy Sexton.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Those two are the same verb.
Careful now. No, I'm just joking.
No, agents are doing. I mean, we've seen James Franklin do this time and time again. But
With Jimmy
also,
Sexton.
I think what we're learning in real time is this too: if you're serious about leaving, it happens in December. The spring isn't a time to be moving on from your school, even if you are threatening it, especially at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
This, to me, there's a lot to be ingested to learn to win. For you to be making a move this time of the year. And I think it's even for Nico's case. Right now, he's not currently in that building, right? The semester hasn't even ended yet. Does his credits transfer over also from semesters versus quarters if they are on a different academic program or pathway? The spring isn't the time. Skill players may be able to. Wide receivers, maybe. I don't even know if tackles are at the best interest to be doing this time of the year. Defensive tackles, yeah. D-ends, yeah. Like your plug-and-play positions, I feel like. Not your,
Running
I got to
back.
think. Yeah, running back.
Like Jaden Ott's going to Oklahoma now. From
But
Cal.
you figure he picked that up, or, man, just toss him the ball.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The spring, I don't think, is the time of the year to be doing it.
It's
what
interesting.
we're learning.
Some of the reporting around all the Cal running backs leaving. You know who's on staff at Cal now? Who is maybe part of the reason?
I feel like I know the name.
Oh, great.
A former SEC head coach is the offensive coordinator at Cal, and it's a big reason why all these guys are.
Who?
They've lost 4 running backs in the portal. Cal has. They have like 1 running back left. Brian Harsin is the OC at Cal.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
Auburn fans on Twitter are like, who could have seen this coming?
Oh, Brian. He should
They lost some good ones, too.
Yeah, Jaden Ott at Oklahoma now. That's
Yeah.
the big gem of the spring portal so
Big
far.
get by
He
them.
is ought to go to Oklahoma.
Why did he leave Boise? May have been one of his
It
biggest.
might have been. Yeah,
Oh, SEC,
I agree.
different level. You
know,
you
but
get an
like,
SEC head coach job. I think the other question is, why did Auburn want him to leave Boise?
Oh, my gosh. Thought they can go in a
I'm with
different
you.
direction.
Grass is now always greener.
Anyway, there you go. If only we had a radio and television personality who could speak on these things from a basketball and football perspective. Who went to Tennessee? In the room already. Good thing is for us that we do. Ron Slade joins us after this.
It's Ramon Foss for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, man. They've been around for a while, man, since 1990. A family owned and operated, too. And here's the way I do stuff. I wouldn't endorse somebody if I didn't use them. I also use Hiller, man. I've used them for their HVAC, the electrical, also some small items, electrical stuff around the house, and they just do a good job every single time. Their motto is, happy you'll build, the service is free. And they absolutely mean that, man. They always send a professional, experienced, trustworthy technicians to come over and fix what's going on with your house. And they always leave it cleaner and better than they found it, too. Best part, offer true transparency pricing. What this means is this: Hiller will line item every part of the job up front, so you're not shocked when you get your bill and asking them, what is this about? No, absolutely not. No hidden fees, no added costs, no surprises when you get your bill. To learn more or book with the company I trust, simply visit happyhiller.com.
RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Whether it's a protein smoothie or a waffle breakfast sandwich, hot chocolate, coffee, whatever you want, Scooters Coffee, it has got you covered on this Friday. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling, joined by television's 3HL's, Nashville's Ron Slay. Good morning.
What's happening? What up, good people?
I like your jersey, Tennessee baseball jersey today.
Yeah.
Shout out Christian Moore. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Simo.
Yeah, Simo been doing work too.
You out here with the two top buttons down,
Man,
right?
yeah,
I know,
you know
right?
what I mean? That right there just lets you know either the jersey too tight or I'm just out here trying to breathe today.
That's how you know it's a Friday.
You know what
Yes.
I mean?
You know who you look like? You
Let
look
it
like
breathe.
Chris Tucker on Money Talks when he was with the beater on, with the tank top on. Sitting there. Oh, my
Hey,
God.
man, listen, man, you got to do what you got to do out here, Savage, man. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, shout out to the Vols. I don't know why they ain't came back with the NIL jerseys. Like, this was the last one I saw them put out, like, with the number, and they get a piece of it. I'm sure they got something set up, probably T-shirts or something, but
Yeah,
I like the
got some
jerseys.
shirts. I got to give me one of hers.
They still
That's my
have,
girl.
they're supposed to have a new black jersey come out at some point this year. They haven't
Really?
released yet. So we'll see.
That's going to go like hotcakes.
Yes, it will.
I forgot your sweatshirt. I got your sweatshirt at the
See,
house.
come on, Dree.
No, my bad. I'll show it to you if you want
No,
to.
you shouldn't even talk.
If you don't like surprises, I'll show it to you already.
No, I love surprises.
No, you don't.
I love them. You just hard for you to keep the surprise.
It is.
'Cause you know I'm a respond.
Yeah.
That's what the thing is, man. It's nothing better in life. On this Good Friday, it's nothing better in life, man, to get surprises, dog. Like, you know what I mean? It's and then to see the response from the surprises, I think is almost as good as the surprise itself. You know what I mean?
That's how we're going to feel when Tennessee signs a quarterback. I mean, honestly, I'm serious.
Don't be so
Keeping it a
surprised.
surprise.
It's going to be a little bit of a surprise.
Put down
this
your,
point,
put down your Easter basket.
I'm more excited about Nathan Mason, maybe
man.
more than anything.
That's gonna be tough. Please.
Thank you, Candace. Slay, I feel like before we always ask you any questions, we should you always react to something you've heard this morning or this week. So I feel like I just need to give you the floor when you come in here.
Yeah, I like
what
it.
do you want to react to?
We had a small conversation about it on 3HL earlier in the week when Jason Whitlock came on about Shador Sanders. Getting his jersey retired. That's wild. That right there is a stretch. And I saw Deion came out and said if it wasn't his son, then nobody would have a problem with it. I mean, I think everybody would still have a problem with it.
I think that's true, but not in the way he thinks it's
Yeah,
true.
exactly. The resume, man, and for all the greats that came before him, it's like head scratching. Like Travis Hunter, I get it, no question about
100%.
it. And to Whitlock's point was, yeah, but did it have to be right now? Like the season just ended, and you look at it, man, and you like, okay, I understand Deion what he's going with. The foundation he's laid, it's almost like you resurrected the entire program. So you're almost starting on this ground. This is ground zero for him. But at the same time, you almost like you shun away what happened in the early 90s when they were, the beast, out there. So, I mean, that's tough. And I also want to know, like, what's the criteria?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Some teams have it written out.
Yeah, like Tennessee has
Tennessee
it.
basketball,
Yeah.
which you meet the criteria again.
Yeah,
which is we've had that conversation.
Yeah, that's it. You got, and then so you got to meet 3 of the 5 for Tennessee basketball the way it goes. So I would love to know what Colorado's is,
Right?
Because somebody has to meet the bar that was set by Shador Sanders. At some point, like the guy behind him, Lewis, I forgot his name. Maybe that might not even be his name, but the 5-star kid that they had come in to play quarterback for them coming up this year,
Juju.
Yeah. So he has. I mean, he could pass Shador. He's going to be there for 3 years at least. Like,
Right.
What if he passed him
Then
in
they
yards,
retire his?
completion percentage? Like, that's what we're hanging a hat on, his completion percentage.
So it's fascinating. I went through and read this article. It's deep, man. And you hear Deion gets very defensive in it also.
Okay.
And it was there were some former players that said something about it. Like everything that Deion's saying is because of what we've done here.
Yeah, I get it.
is why
I get
this
it.
is happening. Like, okay, if that was the case, then put his name on a building.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm with that.
Put his name on the locker room.
Yep.
Or the training room or something.
Yep.
Because real quick, he was like, there are so many things accomplished in this universe expeditiously. It's unbelievable. And I think we should be appreciative. We should be thankful. That sound. I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
We should
Yeah,
be
that was
appreciative
good.
and
Yeah.
we should be thankful. There is no other conversation to be
recruiting.
had. Yeah.
It's always recruiting.
Keeping
It's
relevance.
one way to do
yeah.
it.
I mean, but
Cordell
like,
Stewart's sitting over there like, really?
And that's what the other part of this conversation was right now. Like, is Cordell Stewart's not in that conversation?
Nobody should be in.
Rashawn Salam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Colorado football history did not start in
All the
2022.
Rockets,
No, not
Rocket,
even close.
Missile, all of them, all
Right.
the Ishmaels. Like, all of them should be. Like, come on, dog.
Anyway.
It's wild, man. But I will say, see, that right there is somehow, that's what Deion rubs people the wrong way at times.
Right.
Like, y'all, in other words, y'all should be thankful that I came here and I set this standard to
Yep.
where it is. And that's cool. But,
You know, Prime's
Within
issue,
reason.
come on.
his issue, and I love him. As a player, and like if I ever met him, he'd be super tight too. His issue is that he's not aware it's only one of him.
Right. No. He think he can spread it.
No,
Right. You can't.
No,
Like your brother, listen, we ain't never, ever seen another one of you.
no.
You know what I mean? Travis
One of
Hunter
one.
is he's one of one.
Right.
Yes.
He ain't Deion. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a special guy, man. So
For sure.
From
Yeah.
the get go, helicopters to baseball
Come on,
games.
dog.
Like it's the bandanas. How you
and
dan-
all of it's warranted.
he could do that.
Like he's showing up, getting off like the helicopter, like after playing a football game.
For sure.
Yeah, so
appreciative was
that was the only
wild.
thing that kind of,
And that's
kinda
why
rub
people
it wrong a
stick
little
with, like, now we're talking about the draft, right? And people still attach Shador to, we don't want the dad coming along with it. And
It's
that's
hard.
why it's hard for people to get over that. It's just like the one or two things that you're like, Deion, come
yeah.
on.
And then the light is so bright on him, regardless,
Right.
even if he's not all the way involved, like just when he's around, all the attention is going to be
Goes
on him. Yeah,
sure.
it's just, he's a magnet for it, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, Slay, Nico Iamaleava this time last week was not at practice when Tennessee was practicing. A lot has changed in a week.
That's crazy.
Tennessee is
like a month.
in the market for a quarterback. Nico is on the doorstep of being at UCLA. Nico's camp is still fighting with reporters who have been proven right through all this, including Pete Nakos, who's on 3HL at 420.
He will be on with us.
Tune into that.
huge.
Should be good. Where do we even begin, Slay? Because I know you talk with a lot of athletes, and you are a mentor in a positive way for a lot of athletes as they go through this crazy process.
Yeah.
Not everyone has the athlete's best interest in mind.
Yeah.
And clearly that appears to be the one thing we know as a fact is that the people advising Nico are not in the best interest of Nico, and now Tennessee's got to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, and then also, man, sometimes the athletes don't have their own best interests. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, too.
They get to looking around and listening to other people, and then you make a decision, and then you look around and you're stuck right there with that decision because you was listening to a friend that's 600 miles away at another school in a good situation and not leaving his situation, but, you were the send out. So I think, man, with that, man, you got to – I know we don't have people certified right now as far as people that are representations of these athletes. Are they certified that are representing the school, or is this just who's I would love to know who's representing the school too. Like, is it one governing body? Is it the collective?
It's the GM,
Is it the GM?
right.
Is it the coach? Like,
Right.
who's
Depends on the
garnering?
place.
Yeah, like who's getting all these contracts and everything together and these handshakes? Because that's a lot of it too. Like I have heard, especially in basketball, being closer to that, athletes go in and the assistant coach, the associate head coach, promises them something, and then once they get on campus, it's like, hey man, the head coach like, well, I ain't never tell you that. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, okay, we're gonna give you the bread, but that ain't the position we're gonna have you play. Like, you ain't gonna be able to handle this rock or be able to shoot like this. Like, you're gonna fit this mold for us, So I think that right there gets blurred. So on both sides of it, you can understand. I just think that when you get it to playing out in the media and you go through and using your voice and your platform to do the negotiations, that's where it can get dicey. Because there's no coming back from that. Once it's in print, You know what I mean? Your public opinion, you're guilty. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is what it is, regardless of who's saying it. You can go get the minister down on the corner, you know what I mean, that's been collecting all day to say something. Ain't nobody believing it, you know what I mean? So you gotta go about it the right way, man, and communication is key also in these situations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think we're seeing a lot of that, especially right now with this spend it or lose it type situation.
Right.
I think that's even uglier. So it's money just being thrown everywhere until we get some guardrails on it.
How much do you value Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre going into this process versus a veteran coming in with maybe 4 months to learn the system? And is there anyone out there on the market that we've talked about or anyone's talked about that you are in on as a proven commodity at quarterback?
Man, I'm going to be honest. Nobody even caught my eye outside of the player from, is it South Alabama that I think North Carolina went after?
Yep.
Yes.
The lefty.
That was the only one that I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, this is dynamic. I like this. Because you can kind of script stuff for him till he can get settled in because of his legs and things of that nature. But I do believe, man, Savage kind of won me over with his argument about Merklinger and George McIntyre.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to, this is my thing. I was on Marty and McGee when the news broke. Yeah. And
That's a flex right there. Go ahead, though. I ruined your moment.
The look that you just gave him. Continue.
Hey, what?
Ramon is backed away from the microphone.
I'm telling
The
y'all.
intrusive
Like
thoughts on
Homer
life.
backing
I'm
into
telling
the
y'all
lead.
right now. I'm telling y'all right now, Easter, and we are so thankful he is risen. I'm just saying.
It's funny.
If Savage would have tried to slide out there too, I might have slid that rock right back on there, you know what I mean? Just so he can get a little bit of something. That's all I'm saying.
It's funny the way y'all act the same way when you compliment the other one. It's the only thing that leaves y'all speechless is when the other one compliments you. That's the one thing that'll leave Ramon speechless is when Slay gives you credit and vice versa. Anyway,
I'm telling you, man.
continue. The professional was speaking.
Yeah. So what I said coming on of it, man, right after that, I went on Twitter and was like, hey, man, if this is the case, I love where the energy is as far as Vol Nation being supportive of Hypo. The next 2 days, all we heard was, man, that's it. That's what we need. Somebody taking a stand. The standard has been set. Nobody just falling for anything. You can't strong arm nobody. All right, cool. So that means you got a mulligan going into this year. Do not forget this same energy once we get to October and November. Remember this, that he's still strong on this.
Right.
So with that being said, might as well go and put a young guy out there and bring him along, you know what I mean? Because you're going to have better pieces around him. Put him in a spot to succeed and let him get his feet wet. You know what I'm saying? And then when you go into the December, when the winter portal opens, then you look ahead to next year. And I don't think that's hurting the talent that's there. I think they are good enough to spin the ball and get it out to guys and let the playmakers be playmakers. You know, I think a little bit of that last year was us depending on all of a sudden Nico to create the plays for the playmakers instead of letting the guys, hey, man, just get it to them and let them go to work and hit on the guys when they're got 4 to 5 yards of separation. I think it's as simple as that, and I think these guys can do it. I think Merklinger is a guy that can get it done. George McIntyre, of course, being a freshman, walking into those stadiums, it's gonna be different.
Totally.
Florida, Alabama, like that's tough. So I understood what Swain was saying as well, but I'm cool with riding with it. If they're comfortable, the people around them, as a coaching staff, that would be the only thing that make me say, man, we got to go get somebody. If I looked over and you could hear the rumblings in the film room, like booing them and Mike Matthews and them, like, hey, man, we got they can't get it to us.
Right.
Now. Like, you know, but if you can see flashes,
Yeah.
I ain't mad at it. You depended on the running game last year.
Yeah, they're going to have
Exactly.
to again this year.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
A little bit more eye candy.
Receivers are young, maybe not experienced.
Yep.
You know, they've got to grow too.
Yep.
So it might take a minute.
And with nothing like growing with them. I mean, if you get a mulligan this year, that's all I'm saying. That's where it comes back to. If you get a mulligan this year, then I don't see why not. I don't think they only can go win 4 games. They would want to start. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think Tennessee could easily still has this, I don't know, ceiling of an 8, 9, 10 win team with Merklinger.
And the
I
schedule's
mean, he was
in
the
their favor.
number 12 quarterback in the
There you
country.
go. There you
Like,
go.
he's not an empty chair. He's
It
just
ain't
young.
me running
Right.
out there.
Right.
Yeah, like
And Josh Heupel, I mean, many moons ago, Dylan Gabriel was a freshman in Josh Heupel's system with 3,000 passing yards.
I agree.
No doubt about it. Savage, on that same side, too, the NIL and just recruiting, too, the basketball side. We
Yeah.
usually get to the last one. I can't wait no more, okay? Coach Barnes and this group, it look like he's trying to put together right now.
Yeah.
How optimistic are you in them trying to get that last piece of Nate and Mint?
Man, when you look at it, the recruiting how it's going, if it's down to Tennessee and Duke, I just don't. I understand coupling yourself with other talent, would have meant going to Duke if he would have choose, but the Boozer twins and especially Cameron Boozer, like he's gonna demand the ball. Like there's no that he can go too. So you would be talking about 2 top 5 picks on the same team, and I think that's tough. The way they want to play when you can go to a stronger conference, I'd say a stronger coach, because John Shire has not proven yet. But with Rick Barnes, a Hall of Fame coach who's shown you what he can do with a guy like Grant Williams, who's undersized, a guy like Kevin Durant, who's huge and playing on the wing, kind of similar to your body frame. See what he did with Dalton Connect, see what he did with Chaz Lanier, with a point guard that has been tested and made an Elite 8 run in Gillespie. And then you add Rice in there. You got something. Plus, you got a class coming around them, and you already have front court protection. So, we're not going to say, hey, man, we need you to be inside.
Yeah.
At your size.
Like Igor had to be
Yeah,
at
we
times.
want you to be on. No,
Right.
Get away. We got 4 guys down here that are hungry to be in the paint. So, it's kind of made up for him. If I will say this. You go get him potential-wise, this probably the biggest thing you've seen since Bernard King.
Get out.
Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is the biggest recruit since Bernard King.
Wow.
He's got Durant kind of traits.
Yes.
That's not an over exaggeration because Durant out of high school was also about the number 2 or 3 player in the country with Greg Oden.
Yep.
And it was Durant and Oden out that year, and one was at Ohio State, one was at Texas, and Durant obviously has continued to get better. And,
Right.
that's the high end comparison, but that is I think a fair comparison.
Yeah, and you
would know better than me, obviously.
We knew him coming in. Durant was a gym rat. I'm not sure if if he got to be something like
Right.
Yeah,
he ain't just doing this off potential.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So
Totally.
Yeah, I would bet on it, man, and that would put Rick Barnes right back in the conversation because you look around the league, and I'm just talking SEC. Auburn's loading up. Florida's already loading up. Arkansas is right now today. If I had to pick one, preseason SEC regular season champion would be Arkansas.
Yeah,
Straight
Like
up.
dogs to be able to bring back
Stars
Wagner,
are out.
Brazil, like they finally bringing back veterans and coupling them with some young freshmen.
Yeah.
He got 10 guys right now, and that's what Carter Knox testing the waters, not counting him. Like he just went from 6 deep to 10 to 11 deep. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It sounds like Florida,
Damn.
Tennessee,
Florida rolling.
Arkansas, Kentucky.
No Bama gonna
Auburn,
reload.
Bama.
A&M with Bucky Ball is gonna be there.
Ole Miss,
Texas is
Chris Beard?
Yeah, Texas. Sean Miller. We know he like the cheating. We're in the cheating thing. Like he's gonna go get recruits. Like Ole Miss, Chris Beard, like you said. Coach Jan's got to get some Mississippi State.
Vandy's
South
got a
Carolina.
good transfer class
Vandy
coming
got
in.
a class. Like
LSU has signed some guys.
It's gonna be all right.
This is the new normal.
And we ain't even mentioned Kentucky.
So, does Emmett run away? Or does he want to come into the jungle?
I don't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah, why not want to be a part of the best?
You look at the last 3 years, and you've had arguably the best player in college basketball in the SEC with Janai Broome, Dalton Connect, and then could be Emmett
And Brandon Miller before that.
and B. Miller.
And B. Miller.
Cane Ridge High School.
Yeah, like it's I don't know what else you looking for.
I know.
If you ain't a big going to Purdue.
So for him, it would be defense that he's picking up the most from Barnes. And
Yeah, but
structure.
this would be one of those cases. Like I know he would try, and maybe we got to get the strength there. And Big G is definitely gonna be able to do that. But this is gonna be one of them. You can turn your head a little bit if you miss up on defense. Let's not take him out on this.
He's good enough to earn the right to have a defensive breakdown every now and then. More of that with Ron Slay. We'll wrap up the show with him coming up next.
Hilarious.
Two Rivers Ford announces employee pricing for everyone. Every tradesman, every dad, every rising star. You pay what we pay. Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned. American made.
Wrapping up the show. Friday morning, wrapping up the week. Another good one. You're on RKW, if I do say so myself. Ron Slay in studio. We are, of course, brewed by Scooter's Coffee. And the next time we talk to you people, it will be draft week.
It will be.
On Monday. Mercifully.
Looking
It
forward
will
to
be
it.
draft week.
Golly.
This one don't feel as bad as last year.
Yeah,
though.
it's taking forever to get to, though. Like, last year, we was like, all right, we here. This one,
Yeah.
like, we ain't had nothing around it. At least we had the Preds still playing a little bit.
Right.
And it's just been blank. Like,
Yeah.
we've got Nico. That's it.
Nico watch.
This was-
Shout out to the Vols.
I heard Andy and
Yeah.
Ari on 3. Their podcast is great. We have Andy Staples on all the time. Yesterday, started off their podcast and said, so I guess this is the only topic we talk about anymore. Here's the latest in Nico.
yeah.
So for those of you that have tweeted us and commented, like, I'm tired of Nico, like, yep, everybody is.
Yeah, they are.
But it's the story, so we follow the story.
That's the first question I hear out everywhere I go.
I know.
Gateway tires. If I go to the scooters, if I go in, like anywhere you go, dog, that's the first
It's
question.
about Nico.
What's going on?
Yeah, man.
I love it.
That's the world we live in right now.
It is, dog. It is. It shall all be over soon. When does this portal close?
That's a
25th.
great question.
25th?
25th.
Portal
It's
closes
10-day
when you
open.
want it to close.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
Of April?
Last time you get it, I think it's 10 days on this
Okay.
one.
The real portal is the
15 to
friends we made
25th.
along the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. 15 to the 25th is when the days are, man.
Hurry
So
on up.
hurry
Before
on
draft.
up. These
Yeah.
coaches out here stressing with a
Yes.
C. They dropped the T.
And people
Yes,
are still
aggressive.
going to talk about it because
Yeah.
you got to see if he does land there. Then what if he does well, or what if he doesn't do well? You know, it's going to be brought up.
At least if we can get somebody, it can take us away from that. We just
Right.
need to fill a void.
Yeah.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean, with a person. And
For sure.
We can get our hype train going.
Did you hear Cam Ward on another Twitch stream said, tighten up, y'all, yesterday?
Did he? It's my guy. My jersey will be
Love
back
you,
out
Cam.
today. Yeah. I'm gonna start next week. You know, I'm gonna let him rest. I'm gonna let
Okay.
Traylon work rest one more day. And then
It's time.
Monday is back, baby.
According to Cam, Traylon Burks is the top 4 receiver in the
You
NFL.
damn right.
And if he can make him one, Cam Ward will be king for all time.
He ain't got to make them. He just need to be able to
Look
come.
at that.
That's all. We're gonna let my boy stay healthy, man. We're gonna be all right out there, man.
That's it,
We're
Jerry.
gonna be all right, man. I just know this man has a diamond in the eye, and he can see it. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody can't see the vision. But Cam, this is what's put me on the Cam boy train, because he can see the vision. Because it'd be one thing if he just jumped out and said, you know, it's Calvin Ridley, Traylon Burks, Colton Dow, you know what I mean?
Like 3 other
I know,
receivers
you're
on
like,
the
wait,
roster.
who's another
There's
one?
one more.
Van Jefferson.
Mason Kinsey, yeah. But see, he said Jefferson, then he said Jamar Chase, and then he was like, you know what? I'm going to be real with y'all. And then see, right then, I said, yep, that's my guy.
That's one.
My guy, straight out of MIA, baby.
That's when he got you right there.
Yeah, man. I knew it all came full circle for me, because when I was down there, as soon as I got off the plane in San Antonio, I saw the sign for Incarnate Word. I was like, dang,
Yeah.
I didn't even know, dude, I didn't even know that was in San Antonio.
This is
I had
news
no
to me.
earthly idea. I was like, is that the school that camp? And then, see, I got to the room, and then after he said this a couple days ago, I was sitting there like, dog, it's all been given to me on the platter. I just got to recognize the signs. I just got to recognize the signs.
They've only been
It's
playing
on his
football
way.
since 2009, to be fair.
Yeah, so, yeah, man. Anyway, hey, listen, I just know.
I
Come on,
thought
Cam.
Incarnate
Come
Word
save the
was
day.
like in Montana. Or
Man, I
Utah.
thought that mug was I thought it was close to a mountain. Just
Yeah.
it could have been inside the
valley.
mountain. Yeah,
In a lot of ways, we're all
deep
close to a
down.
mountain.
Yeah. You know what? You are a mountain of hope, Will Lee. That's what we call it.
man.
Pete Nakos, though. What's
Yeah, we got him on
420
tonight,
today.
man.
Tune in.
420. Yeah, I can't wait to hear his because I heard him on a couple of shows, you know, but
Yeah.
I want to hear the latest and see what he knows, because one thing about it, he ain't been hiding information. Whatever he know, he putting out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's get it on, man. Come
Are
on
you-
Airways and let it be known.
You gonna call him what
Well, Big Nick called him.
Big Nick called him?
Yeah, that was disrespectful by Big Nick, man. I can't do him like that. That ain't Big Nick. That ain't right.
That ain't right.
Big Nick need to issue an apology for that one. He need to say I acted
To a lot of
hastily.
people.
Yeah, especially on that one. Though.
Especially that one.
You can't call that man out his name, man. He
You
ain't
know
do
what's
nothing.
crazy though? In hindsight, a little bit of patience is always necessary.
Yeah.
If Nico had to just waited, like Hubs said, threaten to hop in the portal. With what happened in Syracuse right now, there's your wide receiver.
Yep. So is.
There's your wide
Trevor
receiver.
Pena.
Trevor Pena.
Into the portal.
Trevor. I know what a B.
Trevor.
Visiting Penn State today.
There's your wide
Penn State, who
receiver.
doesn't have any receivers, so that feels like
That'd be a big ad.
That is right.
There's your wide receiver right there.
Gotta be cool, man. Gotta always be cool.
your powder dry.
Got to.
Got to keep the powder dry.
Well, we'll be tuning in 4:20 today when you can hear Pete Nakos on 3HL. Should be good.
Nice.
He's like the Ian Rappaport of college football now, and the guy's
right.
like close to my age.
Is
Like, what am I doing? I'm out here losing golf balls on a Thursday afternoon. He's working the phones.
I mean, he was on Paul
He's got
Feinbaum
info.
the other day.
I know.
Yeah, he
you know?
everywhere right now.
Crushing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got a
So
raise from Shannon Terry.
Yep. So you just do right by people.
Yeah,
Noted
Nice.
Tennessee guy,
Bonus.
Shannon Terry, according to
Yeah.
according to Family Friends.
I'm gonna ask
trying
Pete that. That's gonna be one of my
They're
first.
trying to
questions.
line it with Grant Firkins.
Yep.
Yeah, they're trying to line it
Oh,
with Grant.
goodness.
You're just like, dude, this is the Southeast. Everybody works with everybody or knows
right.
Yeah.
everybody. Like,
SEC melting pot.
yeah, I had no idea. Like, was it Dari's a Oklahoma guy?
Yeah.
I had no idea Dari was Oklahoma.
Everybody's affiliated, man.
Yep.
That is Ron Slay. Good to see you, sir.
No doubt.
you're enjoying
man.
the
Appreciate
offseason.
y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
The offseason. You're
That's
like, what
a chill
offseason?
Slay without basketball games to call.
Absolutely, dog.
this
no
week.
traveling, man.
We will get back to you on Monday, draft week. The next time we speak to you, we are excited. Looking forward to it.
No doubt. Good people, man. He is risen, man. Happy Easter to all who celebrate. Put on your pastel colors, man. Your little Easter outfits, your husky suits, whatever you got to do this weekend, man. Barbecue, could do some eggs, devil eggs, hunt some eggs, bunny rabbit, everything this weekend, okay? Enjoy yourselves, because we've dealt with storms, but at all times, make it back to us on Monday. Your Twitter fingers, Mike, always hot.